Hello, dorks. Welcome. We're playing Girl by Moonlight tonight, which is a game that's in Playtest from Evil Hat Productions. The people that are writing the game were very generous in letting us do this playtest. So I have three players tonight. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I'm Kelly. I'm the director, I believe this game calls it.
Yeah,
It's hard to keep track.
I think it's the director.
It is. It's nice. It's what I aspire to do. We're going to be going through a magical girl pre-made adventure tonight and just playing around trying to test the rules out. And if we enjoy this, we might come back and play this one. Next week, we're going to try a space-themed one. This one is much more... I'm getting a real Steven Universe Cardcaptor Sakura vibe from this.
Yeah.
I keep using all the papers.
I can hear every bit of paper that's being moved. These headphones are really loud.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. So why don't we introduce ourselves? Who wants to go first?
Sure.
Okay, we'll start with Christine.
Well, as you already heard, I'm Christine. And I'm going to be playing the character called Hawk tonight.
Ooh.
Nice. And we will talk a little bit more about your characters and introduce them to the audience in a minute. In the middle.
Hi, I'm Winter, and I'm usually playing Mars on our Dork Tales generic fantasy setting D&D. But today, I get to play a lovely character named Fawn. Down below you can see, we each have our names listed. I'm so excited.
Hi, my name is Caitlin, and tonight I'll be playing a character called Raven, which is actually why I'm on dark colors. I love it.
Because you're so Raven.
So Raven.
So Raven. Okay, and there we go. So as usual, since this is us now, and I'm loving how many hearts we have on the screen. So just keep an eye on your audio over here. So this is your audio input, and we're using new microphones for the second time. We used it last night for the first episode of Curse of Strahd. So if there's any problem with the audio, like there was a moment ago, please let us know, and we will adjust some things. So Girl by Moonlight is a game that is inspired by the magical girl anime genre, and of course that means that you have magical girl transformations, and it's a very interesting game using the Forged in the Dark engine that like Blades in the Dark and a number of other games use. What'd you find, Christine?
So it does look like it says that at most you'll probably be rolling 1 to 3 dice.
Okay.
So yeah, when you do an attribute roll, you roll your attribute. When you do an action roll, you roll only that action. So like for Defy, I have 1 die starting out. And same for Express and Perceive, and then I have some special ones when I Transcend.
Sounds good.
But yeah, it basically looks like your pool is not a combination of attribute and action.
Okay, that was my misreading when I was going over the rules again today. Can you hand me the core?
Yeah, I'm just
Or
trying to
my-
make sure I'm putting it back together properly. That way.
All right, so
I'm really excited for this, but I've never played a system where we've only used D6, so I'm wondering how this is going to go.
well, I mean, we're going to wing through it. I've never actually played anything in Forged by the Dark. I've played a lot of Powered by the Apocalypse and ran a lot of Powered by the Apocalypse engine stuff recently, and this is
Was that Forged in the Dark or Forged?
Forged in the Dark, I believe. It's the same engine of Blades in the Dark, which I've got right here, and it's
As you're trying to figure out who produced this game before when I was trying to put together our
Evil
social-
Hat.
Evil Hat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Andrew Gillis is the one who did it, and they made a good game. It's still in playtest, and there's a lot of gaps in it, but I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and it's really coming together. And there's a lot of work and love put in this. So as we're going into this, I just want to give you a few examples of what Girl by Moonlight is. So we are playing in the Kingdom of Dawn. Pre-gen right now, which is heroic magical girls reclaiming a world corrupted by darkness. In the Kingdom of Dawn, it is a story about redemption and heroism. It's an optimistic outlook in which monsters have hearts, often broken, fragile hearts in need of healing. The transcendent powers of the protagonists are a pure and truly good thing, and they use their powers to push back the darkness and change the world for the better. There's still danger and struggle, but ultimately the series aims for an uplifting and optimistic narrative.
Oh.
So Madoka it ain't.
Steven Universe, it be.
Yeah, which Steven
And
Uni-
Sailor Moon.
and Sailor Moon. Yeah.
Those were its 2 touchdowns, I think.
So Steven Universe can be damn depressing at times, but so can Sailor Moon.
But
That's
they're
why.
very
I mean-
hopeful.
If anything, Sailor Moon was depressing in how ditzy she was on some levels. And I was just like, can you please smarten up just a little bit?
No, that's what Darian's for.
But then
Throwing
when she
roses
did,
and
she
dropping
really did.
sass.
That's true.
My work here is done.
At the
But
same
she
time, I
didn't
knew
do
people like her,
anything.
and it drove me insane. I'm like, you can't be a magical girl. It's not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, well. So what we have right now, this is a D6 based game, and the way that the game goes is that we go through 4 different, we go through a cycle of play that has a number of phases, which you read about when we were doing our prep. So obligation. In the obligation phase, that's where the characters go through their day-to-day life. We're in a lot of role-playing games, say our Hunter the Vigil game. Players often try to shirk off responsibility and they skip work to go do things, but you can't. You're high school students. You
Oh
have-
no.
yeah, I
Not
know.
again.
It's true. So you've got to go back to high school and do all of the high school stuff.
Ugh.
So that's your obligation phase, and that's actually one of the things that's going to give you the most stress, of course. Downtime phase is when you actually get to breathe and do your own thing. The mission phase is when you actually go and confront the forces of darkness, and then the fallout phase is, of course,
The repercussion of our
Yeah.
actions.
exactly. So with that, make sure that everything's plugged in well, because I'm sounding a little hollow to myself. All right, so the player agenda. So depending on your role, you've all looked at your sheets, you have a good sense of yourselves there. There are certain principles, okay? So what we're doing is, I haven't plotted much for the night, because we're going to play to find out what happens, which means is that it's going to be a give and take between us. I'm going to set up the situation, and then you are going to actually help me construct the world as we play. So it's going to be much more you-focused, okay? We're going to play on the rule of yes. So if you, there might be some yes buts, but for the most part, it's going to be yes. We were talking earlier with Winter. You and I were talking about like, you are investigating the evil cult of the Dark Queen, right?
Mm-hmm. Obviously.
Okay. Well, how are you doing this? Who are you talking to?
I'm not talking to anybody. I am escaping the outside to see if I can find another way in.
No, what's the building you're looking at?
It's a fortress. It's really dark.
Like an
and-
actual fortress
Yeah.
in downtown Castor City?
She created a large dark bubble over the city, and that's her
Okay.
center of operations.
Yes, but maybe no one can see it, but magical people, right? So that's like a yes but. So just to give you an example of
The
that,
pollution. Everyone's being polluted.
yes, and only Captain
It's
Planet
out
can
of
stop
phase
it.
with this reality.
I'll send you to the Shadow Realm with my gun. All right, so be a fan of each other. One of the things that's going to happen up front is that each of you is going to have promises and secrets, and those are going to be open knowledge to the players. So you'll all know each other's secrets, but your characters won't. Okay, so play into that. For example, if one of you has a secret that your evil twin brother is running around, and one of the other players sees an opportunity for that to come up, maybe suggest it when I'm asking for the penalty for a failed roll. Well, maybe your evil brother comes in, and that's, so we should have fun with that. Reveal your inner world. So when portraying characters, include descriptions of your emotional world. Feelings are a big part of any shoujo-inspired thing, of course. So have fun with that. Hold on, but lightly. So invest emotionally, but be ready to just explode. Keep hope in your heart, because even as the protagonists face overwhelming adversity, it's essential that you keep hope, because it's a very hopeful game. Winter, I know you're a fan of the Princess the Hopeful game that they put out a while ago, like a fan-made World of Darkness supplement.
But from what I'm hearing about this game, there's much more hope. In that game, there is none.
It's
you're
ironic hope.
destined to fail. Yeah, it was highly based on Madoka.
Millennialism.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
so
basically Madoka.
so see things through a queer lens. So this game is definitely written with a queer lens, and the whole being fluid in your identity and going against social norms, which like that version of just queer lensing is actually, it's very intrinsic to the magical girl genre, the whole like being able to switch between the binaries of identity. So let's have fun with that. Look for ways to deal with being separate from society and separate from yourself and having dual lives. Explore the darkness, take an interest in the game's adversity, lean into established themes of darkness, and let your character have flaws and vulnerabilities, etc., etc. So with that, what we're going to do is, does anybody have any questions immediately?
So you were talking about secrets and such, right? Are they already listed on these pages, like the little transcripts?
They should be listed at the top of your sheet.
Okay.
And what you're going to do is, so I'm going to use Ren as an example because Amy was unfortunately sick tonight and we're down to a 3-player game. So Ren, pronouns they, them, with the playbook type, the stranger. They are flighty, glib, and inquisitive. Ren carries the spirit of the Imperial Archivist Karina, or Sarina, depending on the pronunciation there. Ren always had the best grades in school and was certain that they knew everything that there was to know. Since Karina came along, though, their whole perspective has shifted. New vistas of knowledge, secret and ancient, have been revealed, and now they must know more. They have become increasingly withdrawn as they delve deeper and deeper into ancient lore. Your studies have revealed that the crown is hidden somewhere in Castor City. Where? What kind of place is it? What secret are you keeping on behalf of one of your friends? You'll actually develop that right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to figure out your secret, and your secret is prompted by that question. So Ren, in this case, I'm going to say this character is away on a skiing trip with their family.
Or it's kind of, it's background NPC. Oh, Ren told us that.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like this adventure has really been built with these 4 characters.
Yeah.
If
So,
you don't have one of them, it might not work as well.
yeah, so I'm not going to play Ren that much just because I'm going to be juggling a lot of things, but if I need to, that they can show up. So take a look at your sheet, really see what is there. What you'll need to come up with is an answer to your question. Your 2 questions, actually. And then there's a secretive promise and an intimate promise that you have made to another person. Okay? So we are going to play with that in just a moment. Trying not to get Winter's ASMR going.
Oh.
Eat your noodles away from the microphone, Winter.
I know, I was trying to read.
I know it's hard.
Okay.
Okay.
Just to say, these noodles are not hitting the spot that I hoped that they would have.
Yeah, and you can only eat for 8 more minutes according to your fasting. I love the last intermittent fasting. The last 5 minutes of calorie cram are just like, oh my god, just butter.
Like, I'm gonna be kind of going off a little bit with the candy, but whatever.
Yeah. Actually, I might adjust something real quick. But take a look at your sheets, guys, and let's start. Answer your questions in your... Or would you rather answer them as a group?
I think we should probably just talk it out.
Okay. Well, who wants to talk about their character first? So introduce yourself. And, oh, look, Bethany's in the chat.
Hello. Yes.
Oh, damn. When Amy canceled, I should have asked Bethany if she wanted to play. Oh, I'm sorry, Bethany. Maybe next time. So who wants to go first? So read your thing about your character, how you interpret them, and then read your first question out, and we'll answer it as a group. And I'm going to switch my microphones because I'm sounding a little hollow.
And apparently I'm also giving too much ASMR with being close to the mic and eating.
With your crunchies.
Yeah. I'm trying to do it quietly.
You can't eat pumpkin seeds quietly. That's the problem. It's impossible.
Well, you also have everything too loud on my one because I'm too quiet most of the time.
Yes.
Would you be able to move this just off to the side so it's not on
Yeah,
the
you're
table?
not going to drink it raw?
No, not right now. You can have the broth if you
No,
want.
I'm okay.
You can have it. I'll share.
Okay.
Best friends.
Because then that's totally going to go into ASMR,
Even that was a little much.
right? So.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
Alright, well,
Okay.
I guess Hawk is using she, her, is the outsider playbook. Stern, direct, and passionate. Hawk carries the spirit of the Silver Knight Oryxian. Until recently, Hawk was an informant for the authorities, spying on her fellow students. She started to develop feelings for Fawn, one of her usual suspects, and was unable to continue selling out her classmates. Now Hawk's skills are being used by Oryxian to hunt Midnight Quill, but so far neither is aware that Fawn and Quill are one and the same. So her things are, which of your former colleagues is leading Tennyson's search for the crown, and what is it about Fawn that makes her irresistible to Hawk? And then her promises will be a promise of rivalry and a promise to exceed.
I would watch a winter ASMR channel.
What?
I would watch a winter ASMR channel.
Me too. No, I'm just kidding.
There we go. Now I can actually be heard.
So that was everything for your...
That was all my top bit here.
Okay.
All
So
right.
those are my 2 questions to answer, and the promises I have to create, which I'm not quite sure what the heck to put in a promise of rivalry and a promise to exceed.
Maybe let's keep talking a little bit
Let's keep
about
talking
them
there. So-
and then come back to that part, maybe.
That
Sounds like
sounds
a
good.
great
Well-
idea.
Well, what's your first question?
Oh, which of your former colleagues is leading Tennyson's search for the crown, and what is it about Fawn that makes her irresistible to Hawk?
All
So
right.
those are actually fairly easy questions to answer, I think.
Okay.
Which of your former colleagues? Obviously, it's just going to be a random NPC.
Cool. So why don't we come up with cool names? So what's the other person that you were working for? It was
Tennyson.
Tenson, the evil
evil
queen.
authority.
So the
I was the hidden spy.
the premise for this game is that the characters are trying to rescue the city, the world, and the crown of the Nebula crown from the evil Queen Tensun, and her Legion of Dawn. So I guess one of the things for the setup here that we should also talk about is what is the Nebula crown? Literal crown.
Sure.
Grants dominion over the skies and people and their hearts and stuff. Pretty standard
Yeah.
magical girl stuff. Okay.
Mhm.
What calamity will come to pass? Well, obviously, she'll steal the hearts of the entire world.
Yeah.
Obviously. You know,
A
as you-
little Kingdom Hearts in there.
yeah, absolutely. And what do we stand to lose in service to these spirits? I mean, spirits. In that case, I'm gonna assume that that's probably Tensun's Legion as well, and I'm gonna assume that your heart is a so heart.
Extra heart.
Okay. When Hawk's player answers their questions, instruct them to advance the investigation track by 3. So Hawk, what is the name of... Listening to myself on headphones like this is really weird. So what's so let's come up with a name for the minion that's hunting the...
I don't know, because I guess are we only going by Hawk? Or are we supposed to be coming up with real names for our characters as well?
I think you should come up with real names for your characters too. I think that now are we doing this? So you are in a city called Castor City.
Mhm.
So
Are we setting this very Japanesey? Or
I mean, yes, we could. So you could be like,
I was gonna use my other social media name if it came up at one point, and that was in the discussion. So if we do have our real names, I'm probably gonna be using my social media name instead of my
which is what?
my name, Amiha. AMIHA.
All right, Amiha /
Mhm.
Oh my God, my bots are working!
Yeah.
Yay!
Good bots. Good bots.
Good bots. Christine, you want to move your microphone a little bit closer to your mouth?
okay.
I'm just saying. Winter
I
sounds a
mean-
lot clearer than you do.
I was leaning away because I was eating.
Okay, well, stop eating.
No.
And they are different microphones too.
They are. These are the new fancy ones. Which, wow, that sounds really deep. Fancy. Fancy. Oh, good. That'll come up later. And then I guess the last question that I want to ask real quick before we continue with the other characters. So aside from what the evil person's name is, let's see, Tensun. So
Well, because I imagine we don't go around calling ourselves Fawn and Hawk and Raven.
yeah. So what's
All
your
the
what's
time.
your
Unless
real name?
everyone does.
I don't know. Sorry?
What name do you want to use then for your for yourself?
Well, I guess if we are going Japanese, Mayumi is the first name that comes to mind.
Miyumi or Mayumi?
Mayumi. Mayumi.
Mayumi. Oh, that's cute.
Okay, so
It's one
Mayumi.
of my former coworkers.
Is that the one we ran into today?
No,
Okay.
that was Noriko.
Oh, I thought it was Noriko. All right, and then just because I'm doing this, Caitlin, do you have a first name for
Raven.
Raven? Sorry, I was like Hawk, Raven, Ren.
If we're going Japanese.
You can go anything you want. You can be the random exchange student.
I mean, I am like very blunt.
It's true.
Whereas we both have very main character vibes going on here.
It's true.
The weird
Although,
hair.
Mary. Can I
Mary.
Mary? Yeah.
That's cute too. They're all so cute. I love it.
All right, Mary. So Mary / Raven, and then we're going to say that you're evil, the evil one who's looking for. Let's give him a name.
What former colleague? So former
their
student
actual-
spy.
This is an evil henchman.
Okay. Are we doing their actual name and their like?
Well, who knows? Maybe they only have an actual name. Maybe they're not fancy like us and have a hawk.
I think that they do have a special name, though. I think that
Yeah.
it's like Zoisite. Like we're creating a Zoisite or a Nephalite at this
Yeah.
point.
Okay. Malachite. No, just kidding.
I mean, I think wasn't Malachite one of them?
Pretty
Yeah.
sure. Okay. It was.
What to say? Like,
Former colleague.
move this down slightly.
Well, we're like birds.
Yeah. Did we want in that case? Did we want to
except
also
for
make
Fawn.
it birds?
Fawn's
I know,
not a
I'm
bird.
Sure.
Oops.
You're the only one. I know. I was thinking about that too. I was like, am I missing some sort of bird that's called a fawn? But I don't
No.
know. Yeah.
Is there? Is there actually a bird called Fawn?
No.
Oh, that's what so.
It's
Yeah.
this one.
I'm really.
Yeah, that one right there.
Yeah, that's a plot.
Also, don't forget that at the bottom of your character sheet, or no, pardon me, at the bottom of this Kingdom of Dawn write-up, Aquila, Libra, Corvus,
Oh,
Topaz,
true.
Oh.
Crux.
Why we just use one of those names?
Where is this?
This is
Not
on
here,
my
Oh, yours
It's over
one.
there.
my
Yeah.
special one.
Okay.
Well, why
So-
we use one of those names just so then it's like still tied in and you have it on there and you can circle it or whatever.
Talc, Osprey. Osprey? Ren?
Actually,
Raven?
Osprey would make a lot of sense, especially if it was a former spy.
Ooh.
Right? Like horribly good long distance vision.
And tell me what is Osprey's deal? Who is Osprey? Male, female, genderqueer.
I'm gonna go with male.
Yay, I get to use a deep voice. It'll be great. I guess I can do the genderqueer too, but
I don't know. We're all high school students, so
what do they look like?
student council president.
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh, and you know what? They're the kind of the creepy student council president, the Kyoya type with the pushing the glasses up and the light reflects off, and it's kind of scary. It flashes out of the darkness.
Nanja kore wa. What are you doing? Okay. Boop. Okay. Let's continue down the row, and I want to hear what Fawn is about.
Okay. So Fawn goes by she, her, the enigma, shy, elegant, and impulsive. Fawn carries the spirit of the infamous bandit Midnight Quill. Fawn has always been picked on by other students, including Hawk.
Oh.
I mean, she likes you. No. Don't do it. With Quill exulting in the irony of Eryxian's futile searching, Fawn is nervously taking the first steps into romance with Hawk. I'm my own fangirl. Fawn finds herself caught between her own anxieties and the thrilling potential of what might be. So the questions are, what was Fawn's dissident behavior that brought on the scrutiny of the authorities? And why does Midnight Quill love toying with Eryxian so?
So what are your answers then? What do you think?
What'd you do that brought down the spies?
authority. So, what do we know about these spies and whatnot?
So there are spies that are lurking, trying to infiltrate your organization and bring you to your knees, and then acquire the crown instead. So, I mean, what do you want to know about them? Very little was provided in the playtest document for like helping flesh this out beyond the story seeds.
Mhm.
So it can be anything you want it to be. One of the big questions I'm going to ask before we start is, what do the monsters look like? Like, are they like inky black, like heartless? Are they like big bird people? Or, like, what are we talking about here? But so your spy. Let's talk about that. So Fawn,
Behavior of the Baron, scrutiny of the authorities. So.
So the authorities would probably just be like, so one of the things that they talk about is that the city has undergone quite a bit of trouble recently because of these monster sightings and things. So there is a curfew in effect.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you snuck out after hours.
Okay.
So what do you do for fun?
Maybe she does like karaoke or something.
Okay. With more rebellious friends?
Because she has such a beautiful voice.
That's Fawn's thing, right? Is that she has a great singing voice?
No. It's who she goes to see sing.
Oh, okay. So you snuck out and got in trouble?
Yeah.
So caught after curfew. That sounds great. And why does Midnight Quill love toying with Oryxian so?
So Oryxian was
the spirit I carry.
So why does the thing in you love messing with the thing in her? With a person in you, person in her.
Mm-hmm. I would say that maybe it's just like is very like playful with them and is just like likes to make a reaction because maybe they're more like really held together and stuff, so it likes to see them get flustered and stuff and be like, haha, I'll come help you, I was just kidding, but then like it might take it too far and be like, oh no, that's not what I meant, oops, and then it could cause like a lot of trouble. So it could be just for like the reaction and to see what they're going to do and see what kind of boundary she can get up to and then see if she can take that next step. And it could go from being like romantic, it can go from almost like a whole bunch of different things with just placing a boundary and then seeing if she can overcome that. Okay. Which a lot of people tend to do, and that's what kids do, like the teenagers, like they're always seeing how much of that boundary they can like push and shove.
Now, did they have any type of connection like that in a past life? Since these are reincarnated souls inside of your bodies? Something to consider maybe for later.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so write those down on your sheet so that you have them. You can write them down on your own sheets, or you can just, like, Winter can write them down on her sheet. Do y'all need paper on top of this? Or I guess you have a front and a back, you're fine.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, and then let's hop over to Caitlin. Caitlin, tell me a little bit about Raven.
Okay, so Raven goes by she, her. She's the harmony. Romantic, gentle, and somber. Raven carries the spirits of Princess Lumina and her lover, Silver Night Lyre. Like the instrument. Raven is a soft-spoken, passionate music student, used to solitude and reflection. Now she shares her heart with a pair of lovers, living a truth that she cannot permit herself to experience. It has driven her to run away from her home, from her family that does not accept her. What music is Raven forced to study and play? And what does she play in secret? And Raven's mother is secretly connected to Empress Ten's son. How? So, okay. So the music that Raven's forced to study and play, I mean, it's usually pretty,
Just tilt it down a tiny bit.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Now you're picking up way better.
Okay,
it's
perfect.
It's getting used to new microphones, guys. Sorry.
Sorry. I'm also not as tall as most other people. I was gonna go maybe just like classical music. She's forced to study and play classical music.
Okay.
But
she'd
in
rather
secret,
be a hard rock.
well,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
but she's also romantic, gentle, and somber.
Mhm.
Maybe more.
Urata Hikaru. Simple and clean.
What? Oh.
Nothing's going to stop.
But yeah, stuff more. I think stuff more like that. More like maybe more like Vienna Tang.
Okay.
What is that? I can't recall what.
It's kind of popish, right?
It's kind of popish, yeah.
Sounds good. And so that's
Yeah.
what you do in your spare time, and that's
Yep.
what you do in your. Okay, so and then that's Hawk.
Well, her mother's secretly connected to Empress Tensun. I've got like 3 questions.
Yes.
Yes. So how is the question?
Does anybody have? Do you have an idea, or would you like to ask the audience?
We could all talk together.
Yeah, let's talk. Okay, so how is she connected to Tensen?
Yeah.
I mean, my first thought when I saw that when reading the playtest was like, well, I don't know, cousin?
Yeah.
Or something like
Mhm.
that. So you've got that
Oh, are we
weird,
thinking
like,
familiar?
relationship.
See, my
Connection.
initial thought was that she actually is Tensun,
Oh.
and that she has her soul in there, or something like that. But then I had some other ideas too that could work. But that was my first thought. Was like, how would I mess up a character real fast?
And are we playing with
Could do
Tensen
that.
is still currently alive? Like,
Tensun is still alive. Basically, Tensun is very much the Rita Repulsa of this. Like she's in her mountain fortress or whatnot,
Mhm.
going, "I will stop them," right?
Mhm.
Or however we decide she is. So what I have right here is that. Where is it? It doesn't say actually. So, but she is very much active still.
okay. An idea that I had, like, just as a working for her, but more of like maybe she had to be her double for a planned attack that they learned through their spies. So maybe your mother was made to like look just like her, and so they thought that maybe they caught her, or like maybe your mother is still alive,
Or maybe they
not,
just
but-
naturally look like each other.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those Prince and Pauper type of situations,
Mhm.
right?
That's what I mean. Like the Vocaloid song, the sister and brother Swift.
Oh, the servant of evil and daughter of
Yeah.
evil ones. Yeah.
Yeah, so then maybe that was your mom's kind of thing, was that like if Tensung had to do something and be like physically there, she
Mhm.
wasn't actually there.
Hmm.
She was watching somewhere else. But there was a physical like person acting as her. And that could have gone okay, or that could have gone like really wrong, and something could have happened to your mom because of that.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like it.
Is that what we're gonna go with?
Yeah, I think so.
Yay!
All right. And I'm going to ask you a quick question as well as we start. Actually, you know what? We're going to roll with this. We're going to improv this as we go.
Mhm.
Because I think that over-preparing actually does this game harm.
And
And
I'm sorry, I'm just going to go back because I did have 2 questions as well. We only answered one of
did
them.
we? Oh, my apologies.
So what is it about Fawn that makes her irresistible to Hawk?
Now that you know more about her, what is it?
So I don't know. I'm thinking like you have this elegance apparently, according to like your little write up.
I gotta be more elegant. Okay.
All right, Winter, pull on the elegance. But I was thinking you're also being resisty to stuff. So maybe it's that like elegant resistance.
Yeah, free spiritness.
Could be just what Hawk is just like.
Oh, you got Magic Pixie Dream Girl?
Oh!
You're having your 500
Obviously,
days of
that's what
summer
this
with
is.
winter?
So I'm kind of like reading this going,
Winter
Okay.
summer.
so you spied on this person and now you're head over heels for them? Like,
That's not creepy at all.
no.
No, that's just
It's
just
like,
love,
okay.
Mr. Cullen.
So that's just how apparently this group of girls works.
It happens. It happens a lot, actually.
What, stalking people?
Well, that's what you do when you're a teenager too, because you don't know what else you can do. So you like follow them around. You try to get into
Look,
their
I
classes.
just binged 2 seasons of You. I know a little something about stalking now.
Yeah. No, it's not like that.
It's a little like that, let's be fair. Like, Anybody who's ever had an
Sometimes.
ex has checked their Facebook at least once and been like, "What are you up to?" you
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that sounds great. So I think that unless we have any immediate questions,
And then weren't we supposed to do promises?
yeah. So do we want to do some promises right now? So the promises are pretty useful, but I don't see them being. Oh yay!
I'm not quite sure what we're trying to come up with these, like how much these are actually going to come in.
I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be the most important for this session, just because we're kind of playing around through here.
Yeah, because it looks like
It might be something that would come up after a first game, and then you're like, once you see what the characters interact.
yeah, because I'm looking at like one of mine. And one of mine is like promise of rivalry, so I have to pick a rival,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So
and I have to
you're
like
feisty.
when stuff happens, like when you eclipse, I actually need to do shit with the rival to get out of eclipsing.
Oh,
You
you're
know-
so feisty.
it's true. So I think for this play session, we're not going to use the promises just
Okay.
because, and they're also very, very pivotal for gaining experience. Which,
make it
because we're
really-
just doing this a one shot, we're not
Yeah.
going to go through experiences.
Okay, cool.
Unless we really like this game and want to continue.
If we want to continue, yeah. But honestly, if we were going to continue, I would prefer to make our own magical girl setting. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
let's be fair, so do you. Because you want to be like, moon, prism, makeup. And then you can all color coordinate your outfits and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
although you did a good job so far. You've got a crystal necklace. We got a bow.
It's tiny.
You've got a unicorn behind you. There's a bat skeleton hanging right above Christine's head off a frame.
It's true.
Oh, and we've got Charlie on the wall.
We do.
Actually, I
Here's
want
our
to say,
midnight
you
mask.
did see it? Yeah.
so I really like the way this game is structured. I will, before we begin, I want to make one major complaint. There is nothing about animal sidekicks in here.
Well, that's gotta change.
Did you find something? Because I
No,
didn't
I didn't. But I actually brought a little bunny plush just in case.
put it on the table.
Well, it's in my bag. I'm too poof. I can't do it. You can go in there. I don't mind. Sorry.
I'm doing this for the bunny.
It's pretty cute. You won't regret
And
it.
Mike has a bunny now.
It should be in the blue one. Should be in the top of the blue. Yeah.
Bunny. I love bunny.
Me too. Okay.
All right. And I don't feel too bad about us taking a little while longer to get used to this because I was watching some of the other Let's Plays of this, the actual plays, and they did a lot of character creation time, like a
Okay.
lot. So I think we're still doing okay. We're still doing okay.
Like, also for like people to be aware watching,
Mhm.
throughout this document, there's numerous places with square brackets where they say, put this information here.
Yeah.
Like,
It's-
they're not finished writing this yet.
It's really standard when you're doing
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like I just, by the way, if you go to DriveThruRPG, there's going to be a document up there soon with my name in it because me and my buddy Sam Young and a bunch of other writers just put together a bunch of second edition translations for Vampire the Requiem's Bloodlines. So that was my winter project, was just like rewriting entire Bloodlines, and they're going to be really fun. So check that out because
I'm so excited.
and buy it because it's cheap. It's like $12 and I get like $1 every time you do that. But like there was a lot of that, like, Sam, I don't know what to put here. What should I put here? Sam does this power work because he was the editor, right? And I'm like, I have no idea. The same thing when we play tested Beast. There were tons of things in the rules that were like, should Beast be able to do this? Question mark.
Well, and that's the thing, is seeing that in there, I'm like, damn it, I'd like to read that right now.
I know.
Hope so
I know. Well, I mean,
Well, that's the part of the playtest, though.
Yeah.
yeah. When the
Yeah.
and the game can change a lot between this stage and between its final.
Mhm.
There is a lot. For example, when I did the playtest for Beast the Primordial, the game changed, I think, developers. Like, it went through a different developing cycle after we playtested it,
Mhm.
Oh.
which was probably for the best because it was really cruel. I did a total
Yeah.
party wipe in that one.
I mean, if anything, my first thought with this one is like these series and how they have characters pre-built for this little series.
Mhm.
Like, it almost might be more fun to have this where, say, you have all 4 names still, and you have like the majority stuff, but then you say like, Hawk is obsessed with which one,
Oh.
I think,
and so that you have
yeah.
a level of picking.
I think at this point they just want like a litmus test, right? They
Oh,
just
yeah.
want- But
But I mean, if we say it in the playtest, that way they they hear about it because
Mhm.
apparently they're going to watch.
I hope so. I hope they're in there right now watching us gab about a bunch of stuff. So one of the things that I really want to, so that was the last thing. So how do we want the monsters to look? Do we want them to be like Sailor Moon monsters? Do we want them to be a little more icky? Like,
I kind of like the very ambiguous nature of a lot of like the Kingdom Hearts ones.
okay,
They're
so
kind of
they're
the inky blobs.
Mm-hmm.
That almost seems more terrifying to come out of a darkened hallway or a darkened road from underneath the shadowy trees. And
okay. And I am going to load random name generator because that's going to be useful for me, and I will just put it on the Japanese setting. Someone just tapping on something?
Sorry, I was racing.
No, that's okay. I just can hear it.
I was also
My bad.
shifting and the couch creaked under me, so I'm not sure if that
the-
was it either.
The only bad thing about the new microphones is that the old microphones weren't as good, but they came with sound dampening, like for any bump protection, which for some reason I can't remember what those are called, and it's one of my nights.
You like the little puffy things?
No, because like you've seen, it has like the rig, like the anti-bounce harness,
Oh. Yeah.
the noise canceling thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So with that, we are going to jump right in to gameplay unless anybody has another question.
No, I think they'll come up as they come up.
Yeah,
All right.
that's what's gonna happen.
So welcome to at 8:20 p.m. Welcome to Girl by Moonlight. Attention students, this is the principal speaking. A reminder that classes are cancelled in 7th period today due to the tragedy that occurred last week. Those of you who would like to send flowers to the Nakatomi estate, please deposit funds at the main office where we will be collecting for it. This call comes over the intercom as you are chimed out to lunch. You all are in the same class. How old are you? 15, 16, 17?
16?
16's a good medium.
All right, so you are in class 2B.
B.
2B. Or is it not 2B? All right, so class 2B it is. And thankfully, I know a huge amount about the Japanese high school system. It's almost like I was a teacher.
I mean, it's not like any of us have not watched anime.
It's really true. So you head, the call goes out, and the three of you are in class among a dozen other students around you who are staying in class. A couple of them, some of the baseball team, reach into their desks and their cubbies and pull out bentos that they've stored for lunch. One guy in the corner, a young student named Shinichiro, pulls out 3 bags of shrimp chips and a karage set that he bought before lunch at the local konbini, and begins mowing down the shrimp crumb dust kind of accumulating around the tips of his finger, much like a North American counterpart would with Dorito crust. And with that, it's the three of you just standing around in the classroom. You can choose to go down to the bread store and go buy some bread for lunch. You can dig into whatever you have. Or if you think the school would have it, you can enjoy the like a small cafeteria if you'd like. But those are usually the fancier schools that have those. You could also just go to the vending machine and buy a Calorie Mate, which is 1,000 calorie cookie. Or no, 500 calorie cookie. I lived off of those for a while. They're really cheap. They're like $4, and they're 2 of those is 1,000 calories.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's sick.
Sounds gross.
it's a ration.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, and so with that, you are among your people.
All right.
Yeah, I probably brought my own lunch.
I definitely made my own lunch.
All right, and What did you make?
Oh, I probably have croquette. I probably have some rice. I probably have some.
Is it made very well? Are you a good cook, or
Why don't I roll to find out?
why don't we take a look at that? So let's see what your.
Oh, okay. I was just.
No, this is going to be your flow. Or no, is it flow or is it express?
I mean,
I think express is supposed to be expressing
Either
like
way.
yourself and.
Well, is it a bento with like an octopus hot dog in it? Like, you know what I'm talking about?
probably not looking at my sheet, but you know what?
Because maybe it's like she can have some sort of control over a few things in her life. And it's just like she puts a
True.
lot into it, or she's just like, you know what, I use this as routine. I do it every day. I get up at 5 o'clock, and it's a part of a. You need to do it.
But yeah.
But some of them do.
I know.
For a good lunch. Yeah.
Trooper.
So as you're opening your bento and inspecting it to see if it is of possible quality,
Yeah.
you will hear that a siren is going. Wow, there's an ambulance across the street. Okay, or a fire truck.
Fire truck, I think. Oh.
All right, you'll hear an ambulance drive by the school.
Oh.
It distracts you, at which point your croquette, you will see that there is a sudden strike, and one of your croquettes is gone.
Hey.
Leaning over your desk is a tall, slightly beefy character. Her cheeks are quite big, and she definitely is eating like a squirrel.
Chipmunk.
Mowing your croquette. This is a
Rude.
This is a very rude student of yours, fellow student, standing just over 4'9". This is Nizumi. Hey, this is really good. You should make more of these.
Listen to me. I only had like 2.
Yeah, he brought one for me. That's why we're best friends.
Nizumi, are
Yes,
you
so.
hungry? Did you not bring food today?
No, I guess I must have forgot it.
You know what? I'm not that hungry. You can have mine today.
Are you sure?
I don't have the appetite after the incident. Please, go ahead, but
There was an incident, and she'll take your bento and start eating it.
please, next time, just ask.
I do this every day.
I know, and it's not very becoming.
Becoming what?
I'll tell you when you're older.
Well, and she goes back to eating food. And as she does, what I want you to do, and I'm going to try not to make you overroll in this game, but anybody who's watching this, why don't we go ahead and give me an empathize if you have it.
Oh.
So we'll do it
Well,
for.
if you don't, you can roll the 2 and take the
Yep.
lowest.
So what am I looking at to empathize?
So empathize, you're going to see if you have any dots in empathize in that first
So-
column.
You do, but only when transcended. So otherwise you don't, so you have to just roll 2 dice and take the lowest number.
And if I have like 1 dot in it, I just roll 1.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, but you're not forced to take the lowest number that you roll.
I guess so.
Which,
Okay.
1. Okay.
2.
So there's no real.
1.
Okay. So we're going to get a lot out of some. So that's the way the dice engine works. Now that we've discovered that, we can move on. So something that's going to come up with the dice engine later is that there are 3 types of positioning. So when we're about to do a roll, what I will do is say, I keep getting some feedback. If you are listening, hey, if you're listening in the chat, is there... What are they saying? Goodbye phone, hello TV.
TV. Chromecast.
They bought Chromecast.
Yeah, so
Oh.
they're watching on TV.
Oh, cool.
Who's
Nice.
watching on TV?
I don't know. I can't read the name.
Sarah Lemon Score?
Oh, Sarah Lemon Square. Are you guys getting a little bit of feedback as well? Because I'm getting it over my headphones. Let me know in the chat if you are, because I'm listening to the feedback coming through my Zoom, not through the actual podcast, or not through the actual recording, because there'd be a delay of 2 seconds, and I would just lose my mind. Which I did that at Strahd last night. So, yes.
Before we move past this point, very sneakily, there's going to be, all of a sudden you look back up and there's like a little package of sushi on your desk.
Is it California roll, or is it just like a really...
Well, it's probably like nigiri. It's nigiri in Japan. Then.
Yeah, so it's like...
Maybe like maki or something.
Yeah, probably like kapamaki, because that keeps forever.
Probably
okay.
whatever that you actually like, too. Because if she's been spying on you forever...
The flesh of her enemies.
Salmon maki.
Her enemies are salmon.
I like salmon.
And if you look around, like, Hawk is
so hard.
fully at her desk, just eating her lunch, not paying any attention.
All right. So as she stumbles away, did anybody get any successes at all? So that would be a 4 or 5.
Nope.
Okay. So you will not notice the threadbareness of her shoes and how her uniform is ill-fitting, and it seems like she probably hasn't had a good wash or sleep recently.
But we don't notice
You
that?
don't notice that, but the audience sure as hell does. So just so we're talking about it, when we do positioning, there are 3 types of positioning. Basically, it's low, medium, and high risk. Okay. So those are controlled, risky, and dangerous. Or no, desperate, not dangerous, desperate. So for example, you're in a fight. Okay. If you're doing mundane stuff, like you're in a bar fight or something like that, or like in a schoolyard fight for you guys, we consider everything risky. That means that you have a good chance, if you fail, something decently bad is going to happen to you. Whereas you are putting your all into a track event, that is a controlled circumstance. If you really mess it up, you might twist your ankle. You're not going to get punched in the face and get your nose broken. Okay? One of the benefits of transcending is that when you transcend, any mundane threat becomes 1 level lower. At least. I think according to the rules that all mundane threats become controlled, meaning that like you can basically handle anything mundane. Magical goes from desperate to risky. So you can actually start taking on magical creatures instead of just dying.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you that edge. It's an interesting new system that we haven't dealt with before, really, because it's not... that is one of the big things that makes Forged in the Dark different than Powered by the Apocalypse. Which doesn't matter for Winter, because this is your first time playing any of the D6 games. All right, so back to this. There will be a sushi, a kapamaki set on your desk suddenly.
Thank you.
All right. So you sit together and talk for a bit. What's your next subject? Who's going where next?
I think I have math.
But weren't you saying that the 7th period was cancelled?
Mm-hmm. You have 1 more period before then, though.
Okay.
Because this is just lunch.
Yeah, lunch is 5th period for your school.
Do they not do everything together as a class?
The classroom does. Different classes are off at different times.
Okay.
So, like, basically...
An extracurricular or something, so...
Yeah, I know, and then after school you have an extracurricular, too.
Yeah, are we going to clubs?
Do you have a club?
Probably.
What club are you in? Music club?
Probably classical music club. That's the one that she's forced to study and play.
Okay, classical and math. Okay, and if you don't have a club, don't forget you could also have part-time jobs. So I don't know what your family life is like, but a lot of families do have to have part-time job work because, you know, you need to help with the bills.
Or at the very least you handle like your own clothing or something.
Yeah, and those uniforms are not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your next class and what club are you in?
PE.
PE, okay. So I wrote your names in the wrong order and this is going to mess me up forever. Okay, so you have PE, and what do you do after school?
After school, I'm caught between maybe either cram school or part-time job at the convenience store.
Maybe it depends on the day.
Okay, yeah.
All right, and Hawk. English?
Sure, let's go with English as the next class. And She probably does some sort of sport.
Absolutely.
Let's say, I think,
Judo?
sure. That would be cool.
There was a judo club in my school. It was a really small one. They were mostly out in archery school.
It's probably not every single day. So she probably has a...
Occasionally free days, yeah. But
Yeah.
it's most days.
Okay.
Most days. They're very dedicated at their school sports. Yes. All right. And so with that, you'll go through your lunch period. All around you, you can hear the sounds of your friends, your schoolmates eating and chatting among themselves. Is there anything that you're doing in particular?
I don't think so.
I'm just really
Covertly
tired.
watching Fawn.
I'm just very tired.
All right. So lunch is going to pass fairly quickly. You'll find that there is a low-hanging funk over the proceedings of your school day. Now, this event that happened, this death to the Nakatomi family, what happened? Did someone die? Was it a fellow student, or was it one of the teachers?
I would say
He's a
student.
student.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna say a male student, Shota Nakatomi, or Nakatomi Shota, I suppose it would be. So, what happened to Shota?
Maybe that's what they don't know.
But
Is
what-
maybe he was just found dead.
Out after curfew.
Yeah.
Little do they know, though. What do you know about Shota's disappearance that they don't?
Did he stumble onto something he shouldn't have seen then?
Maybe.
The Ten Sons forces?
Or maybe he was one of them.
Maybe he was part of the school newspaper and thought that he could find more information after curfew.
Yeah.
Maybe he did.
I like that. School paper.
Mm-hmm.
School paper.
Because maybe this curfew is not a very old thing to have happened. Maybe it's been placed recently.
Okay. That sounds good. It's a pretty new thing. Yeah, it's only a couple of weeks old, or maybe even a week old. Where is it? Let's see. It was on my special sheet. No, my special sheet that says curfew. Where is it? Okay. So, with that, you will find that lunch passes very, very quickly. And you are awaiting the next bell to summon you off to your next class. This isn't. Ooh.
Did it turn itself off?
My microphone is not working. 1 second. Let me see if I can adjust it back to equals. Hello. Hello. Oh, okay. There. I fixed it. There we go.
Woo!
Okay. Winter?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I turned your knob down by mistake because I bumped mine when I was plugging my my
Okay. So
headphones back in.
I'll be talking more like this. Is that okay?
Yeah, I pick you up really well.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, Winter's microphone is the best microphone we have right now for some reason.
Oh, nice.
All right. Good to know. I mean, hers is literally right in front of her, so she doesn't have to turn it back to it to talk
Mm-hmm.
and still be looking forward.
Yeah, that's
So, like,
right.
mine's off to one side, so I'm noticing I'm trying to turn to talk to it.
Actually, you're picking up really well right now.
Like this.
No, well, as you were.
As
Oh,
you-
like this?
A little less. So basically, 45-degree angle.
Okay, so this is okay.
Yeah, so if you're facing the screen, it works, but if you turn your head more than that, it starts to cut you off a bit.
Okay, dokie. Good to know.
And then, Caitlin, you're doing pretty
Perfect.
well as well. So,
Oh, okay.
new
Thanks.
microphones, guys. Thanks very much.
I was slightly worried about this for this one because I'm not being as loud as I was last night.
Well, that's okay. You can only be Goliath so often. As you were sitting there preparing to end lunch, is there anything that you're talking about in particular?
I don't know. I didn't think we were necessarily sitting together.
Okay, so you're just sitting, doing your own individual things?
I was sneakily getting sushi onto her desk and then looking totally normal at my desk. I didn't
Do
do,
you eat
anything.
it?
Totally normal.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything.
She'll like try to eat, but she is like physically not feeling well about learning that information.
Okay.
And so she picks at it, but like she's trying. It's not working very well. She's just no appetite.
No, that's fair. All right. So with that, what are you doing over there, Raven?
Probably having a good conversation with Nizumi.
This is really good. Thank you very much, Mayumi. Or wait, no.
No.
Thank you very much, Amiha.
No.
Yeah, because
Oh.
Nizumi took her lunch.
I thought you were talking to Caitlin though, and
No,
she'd
no.
stolen from
Oh.
Caitlin.
No, this,
Right.
this is almost as good as your croquette, Mary. Where did you learn to make croquette? That's a really Japanese thing. Like, I didn't think that... I mean, where are you from? England?
Yes, well, I just try very hard. Thank
Do
you.
they do a lot of croquettes in England?
No, I don't think so.
Are you from
No.
England? You're from England, right?
Yeah.
They don't really.
Okay, I didn't think so.
It's more of a French thing, really, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because, you know, croquette.
Okay.
I mean, it could be
Wow.
considered similar to like doing deep fried fish.
It's really good. So how have you been?
I've been okay. The news was really startling, but
Yeah, it's really sad.
yeah, I always liked Sho as a person.
Yeah, we went to kindergarten together.
Did you?
Yeah, we were really good friends when he was growing up.
Hmm.
Or when I guess we were growing up. He actually lives right next door to me.
Wow.
Like, he lived
Mhm.
right next door to me.
Mhm. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thanks.
Hmm.
The front door of the classroom will slide open, and a tall student wearing the school blazer and plaid pants will look across the room and slide his glasses up his nose. You will recognize the student council president, whose name has not been generated. This generator I'm using just asked what his religion was, and the first one was Jewish, and I'm like, that's okay, maybe.
Cool.
I know it wasn't.
Cool.
What happened to fakenamegenerator.com? Where'd it go? There we go. So his name is going to be. You ready for this? In kanji. Okay, that doesn't help me as much as it could. Name set.
Arashi?
Arashi it is, because I don't want to mess with this engine.
Yeah, don't do it.
Arashi Cunningham. What? No.
Cunningham.
Arashi. Stop with the kanji. I want basic options. I am basic. Why would you do this? Why would you? Japanese name. Pop through baby names. There we go. Cool. All right. Arashi Akira, because of course. Akira-san will stand in the doorway and he glances across the room. Mayumi.
I guess we should technically come up with last names as well.
Mayumi. A word.
She'll slide her bento away and stand up and
He'll step back into the hallway. Do you follow?
Yeah.
He walks into the hall, and as you enter the hallway, you can see him facing away from you. About 5 feet down the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
Do you approach?
I will walk a few feet closer and... Akira-san, is there a problem?
Yeah, there's a problem. And he'll turn on his heel and will approach you, walking directly up to your face, and is going to a hand next to you on one side of the wall. And he's going to lean with his face next to yours, cheek to cheek almost. I know what you did.
What?
Traitor.
Ew, don't touch me!
Pervert.
Exactly.
And as he falls to the floor, his glasses are going to skid off of his face and across the floor, where a couple of girls are going to like just kind of gigglingly, shyly, awkwardly back away from this scene. Did you hear that? She called him a pervert. Oh, I wonder what he did. Did you see him trying to put the move on? Ugh, do people actually do that wall thing still? What a manga addict.
Yes! Brand reputation.
And he will scatter around for his glasses, pulling them up. This isn't the last you're going to hear of this.
Fine, then talk to me like a normal person next time.
We both know you're not a normal person. He'll get up and walk down the hallway.
Bitch.
All right. All right. And with that,
Didn't get to finish my lunch.
yep, that's the way it works.
I need to go get changed.
All right. So, and with
Wait, so how does it work? We don't all have the same class?
not your next class isn't all the same.
Oh, okay.
It's very similar to say like American high schools, where you go from one class to the other, almost like college courses.
Oh.
So when you're in high school, like you might have fourth block with the computer teacher, whereas you might have fourth block with the English teacher.
Oh, okay.
But like, yeah, when
But
you
they
stay in the class and the teachers came to you, or in some.
Sometimes you will go to a different class.
Okay.
But
So while you might be class 2B for
Homeroom.
like homeroom stuff.
so basically, you'd be there for homeroom, and you would stay there for your core classes.
Mhm.
So I guess math doesn't make sense, but for your electives, you would go other places.
Oh, okay.
So you would go
Okay.
to elective rooms. So let's change PE to home ec.
Okay.
Okay, so and also like English, it should be something else then if it's core classes.
Oh crap! English is a core class. Yeah. Yeah. Damn. I mean, I only taught it. I should know that. Okay. So
Just because it's confusing because in anime they always are in the same class together, right?
Mhm.
They're
yeah.
always with
So
the
you
same
would only
people.
go to other rooms if they were specialty rooms, right? So
Okay.
let's see what would it be for you then.
I don't know what sort of electives do they have over there.
Computers, anything besides the basic 4 subjects that we would have, like math, English,
Music.
music would be another one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So would computers. So would things like speech. Depending on what your school focused in, the school that I taught at, like some of them had like electrical engineering courses and like auto body shop. Some of them had nursing. Because we had in the school I was teaching at my primary school, it was a caregiver academy where when you graduated, if you did the caregiver program, you had a caregiving license at age 18.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
Well, it's because of the number of seniors they have there, because they need like stat. They need people to like
be able to slot right into those jobs.
yeah, to be able to take care of all of the elderly. And there was also a huge number of people with various disabilities and things like that in the local area too. It was interesting. I went to a special needs school for a day. Really great kids, but it was definitely kind of weird. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
So I think for this, what we're going to do is we're going to say that you're in astronomy.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Maybe I'll go into music then, because I also said math, which is not
Okay. That makes sense that you're in music and music.
Yeah, and then I was thinking maybe I do a part-time job because I don't live at home.
Okay.
So I'll switch that up. Sorry.
No, there's no problem at all. So during the obligation phase, we're going to go into this. So once the protagonist constantly accumulates stress when they roll obligation, when you roll obligation, so let's see. So we're doing this. We narrate with this means the characters. So during the obligation phase, and I'm just kind of trying to get a sense of how we do this still.
Mm-hmm.
So what we can do is we can make a roll and then role play off of that. Or let's do that. Let's put the roll into it more. So you will have one of three options that you can roll for each of your quick scenes. You can roll sun, moon, or stars. Sun, your obligation involves scary people or circumstances or is physically taxing. If moon is rolled, your obligation breaks your heart and drives you to despair. If stars is rolled, your obligation puts you under social pressure or sets off your anxiety. So pick which one of those you would like to risk.
I think sun or moon for me.
Okay. So when you roll obligation, you roll your lowest attribute, taking stress equal to 6 minus the die result.
Oh, so you roll.
So out of the three attributes, sun, moon, and stars, you roll your lowest one. According to this, so actually you don't get to choose.
Okay, so I have to roll star then.
I would roll moon.
And you would roll...
Stars.
Damn, I was hoping it would be a spread. Okay, so go ahead and what you're
So
going to
what does star risk again?
So star is obligation puts you under social pressure or sets off your anxiety. And I'll narrate this accordingly.
Okay.
You can give some hints, but go ahead and make a roll and let's see how much stress you accumulate.
That feels a little weird that you get told that you automatically have anxiety.
Okay, that is
like
fair.
a lot of people don't
I think that
actually show anxiety in normal settings.
Well, we can
they
just
hold on
change
to it and keep it to
boy.
home.
Well, we
right?
won't say that it,
Oh boy.
yes, not winter. But we can say that we don't have to say that it sets off your anxiety specifically, but that it basically puts you
makes
under,
you anxious, puts you under pressure.
I think that it's like what I see this is that it's sun is physical, moon is emotional, and stars is social.
Okay.
So that's what it looks like to me, is that if it puts you under social pressure and sets off your anxiety, that means that it's more of a social pressure thing, right? Whereas breaking your heart and driving you to despair is more of an internal, almost like an emotional mental thing.
Yeah, that connection in between the two.
And then you had moon?
I had moon.
Damn, no one has sun. I was hoping that someone would have a really rough day, like at the convenience store.
Maybe it'll all just accumulate.
All right, so if you have 0 in your stat, roll 2s and give me the lowest.
Hey, I rolled double 4s. Like legit. See?
That's nice. So you're going to take 2 points of stress.
Okay.
Where does that all go?
So stress is on you.
It's in the pink one.
So,
it's your eclipse phase.
Yeah, so when you eclipse, you go dark magical girl. You got a 2, so you take 4.
So I go like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
And what you can do at any time is you can also choose to resist, which we can do right now if you think that I'm going to narrate for you. And I'm going to jot down what you guys got on this. And if you feel that your character would be able to resist this, you can just declare, I will resist this. And then you have a chance to mitigate some of that stress lost.
So for mine, at least I'd say she's probably stressed in regards to if that gets back to Fawn.
Okay, well, let's see what the scene is like, and then we'll see if that goes. And Caitlin, what'd you get?
Oh, 2.
2? Okay, so you'll take 4. All right, so...
Stress buddies.
So why don't we say that your obligation, why don't we start with the lightest one first and work our way down. So Hawk, as you're in astronomy class, the teacher, Mr. Ito, keeps calling upon you time and time again. So, Cassiopeia, where is it? Mayumi.
It's that one.
And what kind of star is it?
Which one?
Cassiopeia.
Cassiopeia, the constellation? Aren't there?
I think Cassiopeia was a star inside of there as well.
Oh, I don't know.
Wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure.
I know it's a constellation, but
It's a constellation.
Nope, that was my mistake. I have a degree in Greek and Roman history, and I don't know my damn constellations. All right. And it's symbolic of what?
Greek mythology?
What type of figure?
A queen in Greek mythology? Tragic figure?
Good. A queen. A queen. And you're very lucky tonight, class, because if you take your telescopes out, as you should for the upcoming exam, you will be able to see that in 3 nights, Cassiopeia will actually be crowned by a passing comet. That is, if you actually study. Take Mayumi's advice. Actually open your textbooks. Mayumi, I want to see you after class as well. Time passes, and after class, Mr. Ito, a man in his late 40s with a barcode comb over.
Oh god, this is not going well.
You're like, the stress is going up, stress is going up.
Thick glasses and a brown suit that he bought in the late 1990s and has kept all 3 buttons permanently buttoned up. We'll meet with you after class. And during this stressful moment, he will compliment a number of things about you. The compliments will grow strange after a certain fashion, when he talks about how nice it is for such a pretty girl to do her studying, and how he wishes that more students were open like you. And as you just start to feel the barest bit of his fingers touch down on your knee, the door will open and a student will come in going, "Sensei, I have a question about the exam," and you'll have an out.
Please take my spot.
Yes, what's the question? You'll hear as you exit the classroom. Okay, and that's what you're going to get your stress from.
Oh, I saw that coming.
Well, yes, you did, and you leaned into it, so I went with it.
Oh god, I know where this is going.
All right, so next it's going to be, I'm just going to go down the row. Okay. Amiha rolled
2
for Moon, right?
Moon.
Ooh, what's a good thing that we could do to her? It's something that breaks her heart and drives her to despair.
Did you say I was in home economics?
Oh.
You know what? I know what it's actually going to be,
Okay.
and your home economics teacher is a very unusual figure. It's a fairly young man in his late 20s is the teacher for this class, and it's not very usual in this area for a man to teach home economics, especially not one who's so attractive. He's gorgeous and smiley and happy, and his name is let's say Watanabe. So Mr. Watanabe is about 5'5". He's short but built very muscly. He used to do karate in college and high school. Actually almost went to the Olympics for Japan back in 2016. And he's only 25. He just finished his college degree.
He's really gone on the downward spiral then.
This is what he wants to do with his life. He loves baking.
Okay.
Now,
I think being in high school still sounds like a downward spiral, but okay.
Maybe there's an injury and he couldn't continue.
Yeah.
as you are in the class, he comes in all smiles and bright lights coming out of him. All right, class. So I want. So today we're going to do something a bit sad. We're going to do everything we can to pour our hearts into our baking today. As you know, one of our classmates recently passed. One
We'll
of our
look
dear
at
students.
the empty seat across the room.
And he will be very missed. But he has a family, and I want to make sure that they have some of his favorite recipes at home. So we're going to make cupcakes for Shota's family and anything else that you're passionate about. I'm going to teach you how to make pound cake. It's it might be a bit exotic compared to what you're used to here, but I think that it'll really help them. And he'll begin to guide you through the steps. And as you're sitting there, or as you're standing there at your cooking station, getting your eggs out, separating your ingredients, milling your flour, you will just hear behind you the sound of a couple of students tittering about him. Can you believe the way that he acts? Yeah. Did you hear? What? Watanabe. One of the students from the track team, saw him downtown. Yeah, whatever. So teachers show up downtown, not usually with other men. What do you mean?
Maybe you should just maybe you should just mind your own business.
Look, it talks. Oh, don't tell me that you like men like that.
I respect him. He is our teacher.
Yeah, that's probably why he got kicked off the Olympic team. Sure would be able to respect him a lot more if he had brought home a medal for Japan.
We'll see where you are in 10 years.
And you'll probably be in a gutter like Shota.
What?
And she'll turn around like her.
Just dump eggs.
And she's got like the batter.
All right. So how do you think this would resolve? So are you just you're just basically stunned?
It's like, how dare you?
Amiha, Mr. Watanabe says from the front of the room. Are you all right? Hey, can we talk, please?
Yes, Sensei.
And he'll pull you aside. Hey, we need to focus down on this. We got to get these pound cakes made.
Sorry, just couldn't control my emotions. I'm very sad.
We're all very sad.
Some of us more than others.
I didn't know you were close. But I'm sorry. He was a good student, and he would have been a good man someday. Are you feeling okay? And he'll put his hand on your forehead. Maybe you should go. Maybe you should go to the nurse's office. You're feeling a little warm.
Is that okay?
It's fine.
Maybe I can come back later and finish the baking.
That would be fine.
Thank you.
So that's what you're going to leave. I think that's enough emotional stress for you. Do you think, actually, do either of you, since we've already started with you, feel that your characters would have been able to resist that? Because I think 2 is a good amount of stress for having a teacher hit on you.
Yeah, especially for what seems to be a stronger
So for
character.
an overt amount of homo antagonism, there, was that something you think your character would resist? 4 stress is a solid amount.
Mm-hmm.
So let me look up the resist rules to see just if you'd want to do that. So many rules. God. It's all printed out with no index because of course it's not. So how are you guys liking this so far?
They're pretty cool.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through yours and then we're going to take a bathroom break. Okay. All right. Chad, how are you enjoying this so far?
I think she could have resisted a little bit from that. I was expecting if it was like cooking, like she was gonna get berated in front of the class because like hers is the only one that burnt or something.
Oh.
Well, no, I wanted to kind of lean into this because this game is there is a lot of like queer subtext in here, and I was like, you know what, I want to actually, and they say it from the beginning that there is a bit of antagonism in it as well, right? And I'm like, well, if we're talking about like a closed, like if we were talking about a setting where there is a bit of antagonism, like I want to give you a chance to push back against it because it's very cathartic, right?
So I was like, how dare you?
Right? I like that. I have no problem straw manning racists and sexists and just douchebags in my games. Resisting consequences. When a character suffers a consequence they deem unacceptable, they can choose to simply tell the director, "No, I'd like to resist that." Resistance is automatically effective. The director will tell you if the consequence is reduced or mitigated entirely. You then make a resistance roll to see how much stress your character suffers as a result of their resistance, and describe, oh, this doesn't work for stress.
Oh, that would increase your stress.
So,
Just like my whole life.
but then again, so moon is consequences from despair and heartbreak. So you...
I feel like
So
I
I
might
think-
have had like some sort of like deep connection with the Shota guy.
I think it sounds like, so the stress we just got is from the obligation phase. So I think maybe that is to resist stress that occurs during play. So like, say something happens in game, like, I don't know, we end up in quite a relationship and I eclipse and push her away or something. That's obviously going to be like huge, like
Okay, so this is
emotionally destroying stress.
Oh, you're right. This is more for harm than for stress. That was one of the things I was looking at when I was trying to understand the rules originally, and I forgot because it's been like 5 hours since I reread this.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and with that, we're going to go over to where Raven is, and you rolled a 2, and you were doing with stars.
Yes.
So you
In
are
music class.
in music class. Yes.
So that you cannot hear the notes. Oh.
No, my close say no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Hold on, I got this. So as you're in music class, the teacher, whose name I forget, can you remind me what their name is?
Matthew? Oh, I guess it doesn't really matter.
Who's the teacher? Tell me.
Matsura.
Matsura. Ms. or Mr. Matsura?
Mister.
Mr. Matsura is leading you through a particularly adept bit of music. What instrument do you play? You violin? You...
Yes.
Violin.
Violin. Yes.
Okay, let me just find
Oh,
let me just find a piece of music that I can actually play here that isn't copyright infringing. Come on, Kevin MacLeod, you are my hero. All right, once again from the top. Choir, I want you to come in on this. You said do you play the violin?
Yeah.
All right. Mary. And 1, 2. You start to play the violin, and as you do, against your training, the strings resist you. They make a horrible, gut-wrenching cat screech noise. What was that? That was terrible.
I'm sorry. I'm doing my best.
Maybe we should try something quiet. Maybe we should try something that doesn't have a violin.
I'm sorry. I can do better. Let me try one more time.
All right, the Frost Waltz. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And again, you bring your bow across the strings, and as you do, you'll hear ka-chong as one of the strings snaps. It snaps. And if you're not even going to try, get out.
I'm sorry.
Incompetent foreigners. You hear him mutter under his breath as you take outside, and as you do, you'll hear laughter from the class. And that's, as you're outside, you'll notice several of the strings on your violin have been filed. You were sabotaged.
Who would do such a thing?
All right,
Just have to get new strings.
and with that, we're going to go to a quick bathroom break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Girl by Moonlight on Dork Tales, which I finally got tea hot enough to trigger this mug into being. Just gonna spill this tea over here.
Oh.
In the Dark Tales mug.
It's, I keep having people be like, "Where can I get one of those mugs?" And I'm like, "At my house, we only have one of them ever made," because that was like, I won a staff free mug at a party a few years ago, and I used it on the Dark Tales mug.
Nice.
Actually, that's not true. Kristen, our moderator Kristen, actually purchased a mug from our Redbubble store, which actually sometime soon, I think a bot's gonna send you all to. So buy things. Buy things. I get 5% if you buy.
Which, the leggings actually do look kind of cool.
Yeah, my mom bought some leggings. Because we have leggings and like A-line skirts and weird stuff.
I have Dark Tales leggings. I think it's the Hunter logo, isn't it?
It's the Vancouver World of Darkness setting.
Yeah. So it's the logo, the Dark Tales logo that was used for the Hunter
Mhm.
game.
And is going to be used for Werewolf next month too.
Mm-hmm. But for now, it is the Hunter logo.
All right, so we're going to move to the next phase right now. So after you've had your stressful obligation phase, we are going to move on to your... we're actually going to cut through downtime. I'm just going to... Actually... So we're going to... I'm not going to cut out your downtime completely. But what I'm going to ask is... your downtime action results. Downtime is when you do things that are good for you, right? And actually matter to you and to the world that you live in. Boom, there we go. Sorry, I was stalling until I found a button. So during downtime, you are... How does it work? Social link action. So what I'd like you all to do real quick is during downtime, you can all take one action, and those are one of the following 4 things, which are going to be crucial to the mission phase, okay? A social link action. When you do a social link action, you choose another protagonist and you do something with them, thereby building up your repertoire, like your repartee. That can later be spent to give bonuses and do different things because it's like, oh, we went out for ramen together, or like we studied together, or we made out on the couch. You know, like,
Wow.
hey, whatever you 3 do is your own business. And everyone who is subscribed to the channel.
So shocking.
You can help a friend recover. So that can remove harm. It doesn't remove stress. You can investigate the darkness. You can work on a long-term project. So out of these, I think that doing a social link action or investigating the darkness are the best ideas for you right now. And we can skip through these pretty quickly. Although in a normal game session, if we weren't just doing a playtest, I would want to like maybe spend a little more time on it. So why don't we go the opposite way this time? We'll snake it back. So what is Raven doing?
Maybe I'll try the social link action.
So what other protagonist are you doing this with?
Fun.
So-
Can we go over to a cafe?
Okay, so describe what the 2 of you do together. If it's something the other person would enjoy, their character can offer you an extra die. Roll an appropriate action. So look at the actions on your sheet and see see what you have there. So, for example, we're looking at Raven. You are fairly good at empathize, confess, forgive. Those are your power ones. So, you're going out to coffee. Are you doing anything on this, or are you going to
Or
confess?
something.
Or,
Yeah.
you're going out for a cafe visit,
Yeah.
right?
Parfait.
Are you going to do one of those three things? Would you like to?
Yeah.
Are you going to? So some options that I would like to put forward.
Mhm.
You can confess feelings for a protagonist for someone else. You could confess just a random feeling you're having. You could make sure to hammer home forgiveness for actions that Hawk took when she was an antagonist. And I want you to know that I really,
Mhm.
or you could empathize and try to understand how hard it must be or something like that. But like, these are some options that I'm presenting. You can do whatever you'd like.
Mm. Probably empathize because I just found that my strings were toyed with, and I know that she's been bullied
That sounds
quite
great.
a lot. So
So you're taking Fawn out?
yeah,
Okay. And would you like to go out for coffee? Or tea, or whatever? Would you like to go to a cafe? Is this something you'd like to do?
Okay.
Okay, so that means, Caitlin, can you please have Mary roll 2 dice for me?
okay. Now I get to take the better of the two now, right?
You get to take the better of the two now. Yeah, I know. Such power.
Gets to.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, really. Okay. 5.
Okay.
5,
That's
all
better
right.
than 2.
It is.
Okay.
It is significantly better than 2.
So that's a partial success. So you express that, hey, you know what it's like to be bullied and things like that.
Yeah.
And what is your response to this?
Mine?
Yeah, because you're the one that was taken out for tea or coffee.
For as rude and very belligerent of other people's feelings, they just don't know. They're stubborn, they are stupid, and don't understand other people's lives outside of their own. I can't blame them. Not
So,
until something happens to them, they won't understand.
so what I'm going to say is, because you got a partial success, that means that you will realize midway through your coffee meeting that you've lost track of time and have to cut it short a bit abruptly to go to your music club.
Oh. Okay.
So you'll still get a success, but that means that it wasn't, you didn't just sit there and gush for hours.
Yeah.
You had to run off. So what that means is on Amiha's sheet, on Fawn's sheet, can you mark +1 links with there? So at the bottom of your sheet, you'll see social links on the bottom left.
Mhm.
So
am I filling in one of those circles?
you're filling in one of those circles for Raven.
Yay!
And so you can only social link or equivalent with a given character once per downtime.
Okay.
Okay. So what are you doing with your downtime? Because I'm going to assume that doesn't count for it, because that wasn't, you weren't initiating it.
Okay. Oh, my downtime would have been probably going to cram school.
Okay.
But
So does Caitlin not get a social link?
No, on a critical, she does.
Oh, it's only on a critical.
Yep.
Okay.
Is that okay, Caitlin?
Oh, that's fine. Oh yeah, sorry. No, I spaced out into my paper.
That's okay. I spaced out when I was explaining the rules, so that works out.
No, that makes sense to me. With some other games we've done, it was kind of similar.
Yeah,
I
so
was just confused because it was an action that she'd initiated and
I
Winter
see.
was getting the benefit. Seemed odd, but
it buffs another character, basically, is the idea, and it gives them the ability to
Pay it back to me.
basically pay it back.
Okay.
Actually, Fawn, I think, can use that right now to activate you or your linked protagonist recover 2 stress.
But would it be fun to eclipse on camera tonight?
I don't know if we're gonna get there, but yeah, sure, why not?
Because then we could
I mean, you can
You
spend
need to
that.
gain 5 more stress to do that.
Oh, there's time.
There's time.
That's true.
Nah, I'm gonna be a magical girl tonight. Okay, so I can.
You're a
so,
magical girl every night, Winter.
Oh.
So now, to take away 2 stress, am I going to erase that mark I just made?
Yes, you can if you choose to. Yes, or you can wait.
I might wait.
You can bank it.
Let's
It's fun.
get some more stress.
Get some,
Oh, man.
You're addicted to stress.
So
It's the way that you
stressed
get things done. So, what would you like to do for your downtime action? So, out of the things here that are available, so a long-term project isn't relevant for this playtest. But what it would be is like you're building a death ray to fight the evil Ten Sun, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe you're just trying to get into college, so cram school. So I would say social link or investigate the darkness. So you in turn, now that you are available because she had to bail, could do a social link. Because who are the people who have to work after school?
Some days.
Some days. And did someone
I
else
had
say
club.
you have a club? Okay.
I was gonna say I was gonna work instead of going to music club because if I'm in music and then I could work because I don't live with my parents anymore.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Yeah,
She's a runaway.
So you had to go to
Yeah.
you had to go to work.
probably had to go
Then
work.
never mind.
Yeah.
So you had to go
Okay.
to work instead.
Cool. So for cram school, I'd say that I already finished an assignment that just has to be due today,
Mhm.
and then it's a free night.
Okay.
Like you pick up the next assignment and you go home.
Okay. So which of those 2 options do you want to do? Do you want to do a social link or do you want to investigate the darkness? I'm not saying you have to do that with my emphasis. I just like saying investigate the darkness.
I kind of want to do that, but then the opposite side I wanted to do was then kind of like take the long way home and go watch Hawk at her practice and just kind of like be in the
Be in the hawk zone.
danger zone.
Dangerously.
No, just like in the. Do they have risers or something for like
Mhm.
watching?
Sure.
sports?
Yeah, we'll say they do.
Okay, yeah, just kind of like watch for a little bit.
So you're gonna go cheer, fight. Yeah, there are some benches at least on the side, so you
Yeah.
can watch. So this is going to be your social link that you are choosing another protagonist. So what role would you like to make for this? So let's take a look at your sheet, and what are you good at?
Okay, so the ones I have dots in are with sun is express, and then stars as conceal and flow.
So express, you could express enthusiasm and joy at her performance. With analyze, you said it was?
Conceal or flow.
Okay, so conceal, you could not feel. You could let it
Don't
go.
let it go.
Conceal, don't feel.
You can, yeah. So don't feel the. You
Go
could try
with the flow.
You could try to hide the feelings bubbling up as you're starting to get a crush on her.
Yeah, but like she can't stop herself from going to watch.
But make one wrong move and everyone will
Don't
know.
worry,
But then you'll have all the homophobes after you too.
the hawk never bothered you anyway. Remember. Never
So
mind. I'm not going to
there's
say
that,
it.
or I go investigate.
You know you want to go crush on her.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Okay, go crush on her. Like,
Yeah.
all right. So you're gonna now. This is an activity you'd enjoy, having someone watch you throw people around. Being one of the few women in the judo club, probably.
Throwing the guys around.
Yeah.
And you probably have like a little fan club being like,
Oh, probably.
Yeah, go fight! Good job, senpai. So as you're there, you're going to see a absolute massive high school senior. The man stands at 6'3". He is a monster. His name is Gota.
Gota.
And Gota walks out. His head is shaped like a shovel. Like his just picture a shovel with like the
The square
spade.
jaw, yeah.
He has thick brows that are only a finger's breadth from meeting in the middle, but they're thick as a knuckle, stretched across.
So he's got like the war paint black brows. Just
Yeah.
across.
You know what? Has anybody ever seen My Love Story?
I was
Yeah.
thinking about that actually.
It's so cute.
It's so cute. It's if you haven't, you need to watch it.
Yeah.
So you got one of these. He has very large lips. He is going to.
He's a big fella.
He is quite a big fella. It's the live action one. So he is
It
going
looks
to.
like that he's wearing a helmet there.
Amazing.
That's his,
hair.
the hair.
That's his.
He's
The
got his
wig.
buzz cut, and he walks out, adjusting his gi. Mm. Are you ready for this?
Hi.
Remember to step on the inside and show no mercy. Ding! Hold up! All right, and go ahead and roll, Winter. You're going to be rolling 2 dice for Hawk on this.
Okay, cool. 5.
5? All right. So you do a very good job of feeling and concealing. But you will let out a little squeak of bemusement as she does exactly what he says, steps to the inside of the thigh, rams her knee at the inside of his thigh bone, and uses that as a pivot point to hurl him over her hip.
Oh my gosh, she's so strong.
With the sound of a mountain colliding with the mats. It's almost as if there's a moment where the world goes silent and the shock wave of his impact catches up.
Oh my god.
Point. All right, so you
Help him up.
can go ahead and mark a social link
Okay.
for Fawn. Yeah. Now that was you rolled 2 dice, right?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Downtimes are cute. I like them. Developer, this is a good system. Good job. Good job, Andrew.
This is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
actually.
it's really. I feel like you can do a lot of cuteness with this, and then turn it dark really quickly, and I like that. Like we immediately were bouncing around and like showing like you crushing on a friend who was sexually harassed like 3 hours ago, and it's just it feels day-to-day life. It's like, oh, there was that really creepy moment, and well, time to go out to tea with my friends and not talk about it. We're not condoning any of this if you're new to the channel, but we like to explore interesting themes. All right, now with you, which of those 2 options seem the best for you?
I think I want to go investigate the darkness.
All right, so when you investigate the darkness, describe how you're seeking information and roll an appropriate action. Treat this as a gather information roll, which I have back here. And nope, that's that. So gather information. Okay. But with the additional benefit of advancing the investigation track by 1 plus your result. On a crit, advance the track by 5 segments.
Nice.
So basically, because you finished your questions and you finished your questions, I believe they said at the beginning of the game when you do that.
Oh right.
Because we forgot about this. Because we're really smart.
Well, we're learning.
I know. It's fine. I just hope that the developers aren't just like, these idiots, they're ruining everything. Especially that guy in the pink shirt. I'm wearing a pink shirt that says anime.
Just sit up a little higher so they can see it.
Anime. It has the subtitle anime in yellow at the bottom. It's one of my favorite shirts, and it's what I thought of for this. I also have one of Hayao Miyazaki's face that says anime was a mistake.
Oh yeah.
And I always wear that when I do lectures at anime conventions. And the kids hate it. The kids love it. So I believe that you basically are just on the cusp of completing this clock. Because you got like +5 and you got +3, I think, over there for completing yours. Although
So I have a little box here for gather information that has a few potential questions, I guess, that I could ask.
Yeah. So the way that it works is when a protagonist is seeking additional information, they can choose to gather information. Hey, that's good. This is typically a fortune roll, but in the middle of a dangerous or volatile situation, this can be an action. So in this case, it will be an action. Based on the result of the roll, the player gathering info can ask a varied number of questions, which they choose up front before the director answers. A follow-up question is asked after the director answers the initial questions. It is not limited to this list, although it must involve information established by the initial question. So on a 6, you get 2 questions and 1 follow-up. On a 4 or 5, you get 1 question and 1 follow-up. On a 1 to 3, you get 1 question with no follow-up. And then on a crit, cool stuff.
Okay.
So for this,
Do I need to ask the questions first and then roll?
No, you roll first,
Okay.
and then you ask the questions before I do a follow-up. Basically, you ask
Okay.
all your questions, and then you get a follow-up, which I think is better for you anyway, because it means that you won't accidentally be like, all right, what's the bad guy's plan, and where's their headquarters? And I tell you, and you're like, okay, I wish I hadn't asked the follow-up question before I found out what his plan was.
Mm-hmm.
So now I just know what his mailing address is. Crap.
Okay. So this would be an action.
So pick an action that you think would work for this.
I would think... So personally, my thought was probably going out after curfew and investigating Shoto's death.
Okay.
So I think defy.
Okay.
Son.
So let's go ahead and do that.
And I want to give myself a bonus die by pushing myself and taking 2 stress.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and do that. So all of you can do that once per turn. You can also ask for assistance from one other person, in which case you will gain +1 die, and it costs them 1 stress. So they stress themselves out. You may also do a combined teamwork roll.
6!
Just 1 6?
And a 4.
Okay, well still, it's a 6. Good job. Okay, so that means that you're going to get 2 questions and 1 follow-up.
Okay.
So
my
you are...
questions.
Mm-hmm.
What's really going on here? What's the danger no one else sees?
What's the danger no one else... Oh, okay.
So those are some of my gather information sample questions, I guess.
What's really going
So
on here is that the crown has been discovered. It is going... What you discover, and how does this come out? It just kind of comes out. What is really going on here is that... What's really going on here? What was the second question?
What's the danger no one else sees? I'm just using the sample questions that are on the sheet.
I'm trying to parse this, what I have in
Yeah.
mind. So
Feel free to alter the questions if need be right now.
what's really going on here is that the crown was discovered actually quite a while ago. As you're out in public, you decide to go to the strangest place on a hunch. All of this is locked in the stars. And something about the comet that you heard about in astronomy class today gets you thinking. The comet that crowns Cassiopeia. Comets pass in a cycle, usually. You head to the library, which is still open after curfew, because one of your friends, we're going to say, a friendly NPC, lets you in after hours. A Miss Minnow, or Mina, we'll say Mina, lets you in, and lets you access some of the old archives, where you'll find that this comet comes around very briefly. It's only visible by telescope, but it comes around about every 30 years. And as you're looking through this, she'll point out, oh, you're looking up astronomy?
Ah, yes.
What are you looking at?
Our teacher mentioned the comet that crowns Cassiopeia is happening this weekend.
Oh, it's that one that comes by every couple of decades, right?
Yeah, it seems to be saying 30 years.
It was actually the last time I remember. It was just when I was a little girl. When it came by, there was a brief meteorite storm.
Oh.
It was really pretty. It seemed like the stars were just dancing to Earth. Actually, that the monument up on the hill.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually where one of the things landed.
Oh, that's very cool. I'll have to go check that out.
You should. Couldn't tell you where it went.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Maybe if you do more research, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But meteorites are pretty neat.
Yeah.
All right. So your second question: what's really going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Looking at that, the crown has been missing. After doing a quick index search, you can see that a meteor shower like that hasn't been reported in... Well, it's not attached to this comet. That's a strange phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
The comet And the meteorites that fell on Earth must be what brought your souls here. The timeline doesn't quite make sense on this, but I'm making it up on the fly, so let's go with it. We'll say that, we'll say it comes by every 16 years, and that's where it drops. We'll drop that from 30 to 16. How does that work? So that aligns with your birth dates.
Were we all born on like the same
the same month
weekend?
Yeah, you were all during Golden Week.
Oh my god.
It means that no one could go to the ATMs on your birthday.
It's very Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Soul.
Whoa.
All right, we'll drop that down to 15 years. So yes, it comes in line with your birthday.
Which question? Have we I think feels like we've kind of figured that we already all know each other and know each other by our magical girl names.
You are already a pre-existing magical girl team.
Yeah. Okay.
You even have a headquarters, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Okay. I wasn't sure if we were, because it kind of feels like there's a ability to do the intro portion yourself or be already established, and I wasn't quite sure what we were.
We're going to be established for the playtest.
That makes sense.
Okay, so you will find that there is that the meteorite shower from the last time this comet came by is tied to your birth somehow, and the mechanism that brought you to this world.
And potentially whatever ended up on that hillside is...
What's your follow-up question? You have one.
I don't know how to word it, but I want to focus on that hillside thing. Is that where the crown is?
Where is it and was it? Sure. After a bit of digging, you will discover, right as the last curfew bell rings that says, hey, if you're out on the street, you better get your asses home. A large meteorite was found on the local hillside at Star Hollow Point.
Yeah.
And the meteorite was unearthed about 15 years ago and has been is being examined at a local multinational science conglomerate building, which you will immediately recognize as
Pinson.
No, that's good though. I like that. What we'll say, Tensun. So we'll say this is. I need a company name. Company name generator.
Kaitokor, not
Kaitokor. I'm not gonna say Kronos.
Kronos.
No.
Everything hurts.
Everything's hurting.
Yep. Everything hurts. I foolishly sat cross-legged after.
No, I don't care if they're actually brandable names.
My knees hurt. Oh god, I feel old. I'm playing half my age.
Now we're like,
It feels weird.
really weird.
What are you guys doing over there? And am I gonna have to edit this out later?
I mean, I think I can guess approximately how old I am.
Okay. Any of these looking
Hype star.
I like Lumostar.
Lumostar?
Staraxa.
Stelly.
Wire.
Stelly.
Staroid?
Stella.
Staroid!
Staroid?
Staroid.
Not Stardust with a Z at the
I
end?
just like the image next to it.
Not Astari?
Well, because the image looks like a shooting star.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can save this. You know what I can do? I can just...
Or Stardusts, but with the Z.
Doesn't.
A stars.
Not
Sculpt.
Skult.
I mean, I figure that's just a little too topical.
Skult. All right. So after a bit of research, you'll know that that it was done. Pardon me. The meteorite was collected by. I already forgot what it's called.
Sculpt?
No, not Skult.
No.
The other one, Staro. What was it?
Staroid.
Star.
Oid. It's like steroid, but star.
Because it makes you swole, yo. By Staroid Labs. Staroid Labs is a multinational conglomerate that comes originally out of England. Its lead scientist on the project is the daughter of the man who set up the company, who about a year ago moved over here with her daughter.
Dun 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 dun.
And so whatever was inside of that meteorite, which you will probably presume at this point you are going to be at full clock, is going to be the crown.
All right.
Is inside of the laboratory of Mary's mother. All right, and we're going to cut ahead to not the Tarrasque interior. We're going to go. Ooh, you know what? I have a Magical Girl song. Hold on. Boop, 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 magical. This is called Midnight Magic by Raphael Kurux. So we're going to cut ahead to you inside of your base, and your base in Magical Girl headquarters is it is a base hidden under. I have so many
Central
pieces.
Park, I think.
It's under the Central Park, yeah.
I remember reading that thinking, that's cool.
Which is actually, I'm going to say, going to be surprisingly close to where this impact was.
Nice.
Which means that this must have gone in. And what I love, I will say, my favorite thing that they've done in here is something that they do in a lot of video games that I enjoy, like in Fire Emblem. So this is your base. And so you start off... You start off in your main hideout, and as you buy additional rooms, they give you additional stat bonuses. Nice. Such as when you buy a lounge, you can spend downtime activities to add 2 experience to your moon. So basically your emotional stats. Okay. You can, or if you get a practice room, you can level up your sun. Or when you get a healing space, you get a +1 dice to recovery rolls. So like your room actually helps you specifically, and you have to open them in sequence. Mm-hmm. So here, take a look and see what you like. All right, so you're meeting inside of your hideout, which is this, we're going to say that it's pretty basic at this point. It's the main room that has your main dais with all of the things that connect you as Silver Knights. And what do you do? You're all together again. You have some information, and I'm assuming that you've taken a moment.
That's really cool.
Hawk, that you've taken a moment to, right? Like, that's more of that. That is great development stuff right here. I love it.
That's really cool because you actually have to invest in your hideout then, like, and it's an actual place.
But it gives you concrete bonuses, right? I think you only get them once when you first unlock it, but 2 experiences toward that is quite big.
Yeah.
Well,
like the containment cells.
No,
like that could be like the SCP.
Spend downtime activity to add to XP.
Oh no, you're right. Well,
it's multi.
That's really
you
powerful.
You can just keep doing it. That's cool.
Given the amount of turnover I think this game has and when your characters die.
You do have to make the choice then between, say, investigating or spending downtime to get that.
Uh-huh.
But so it means that once a game or something, you can up your stats. That's add really XP cool. to it. I guess
how long would it take to like unlock all of
I wonder if the track next to Sun, Moon, and Stars is actually the XP. If you have to fill that in before you can gain a dot.
It probably is.
Because that would make sense.
I haven't looked into the base stuff very much, but that does.
I don't know that they've given you much of that yet.
I don't think they probably would have at this point. It seems a little superfluous to a playtest, but I really like the base idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have something like that in Blades in the Dark, which I have a feeling that they would have. I feel like this is an evolution of that.
This seems like a really cool one. We just have to build our own world for it.
Right. Well, and the game system as we do it right now, like I said, this is built off of Forged in the Dark, which is a very similar. Picture this, but instead of being magical girls, you're bandits inside of a Victorian era town with ghosts and the plague.
Oh, that sounds so cool.
Oh yeah, it's about you're in a world where everything outside of the cities has fallen into the Deadlands, and that there are these lanterns at the edge of the city that push the dead away. Yeah, it's cool. It's Victorian.
Princess the Hopeful uses lanterns like that too, similarly for the Queen of Tears.
Oh, that's cool.
You have to go into the world and actually steal hope and bring it back to that realm to fight off the darkness.
Oh,
they're saying that's how One Ring levels skills. you have to earn a few dots before you actually get the improvement.
Okay. Cool.
So maybe you'd have to spend like 3 days of downtime activity to actually get the dot increase.
Okay. Caitlin, is this one of your friends?
Yeah.
Oh, did they know this game?
No, I don't think.
I think
I
I
don't think this one, but
they're just referencing I think what I just described about
Oh,
how
cool.
I thought this worked.
It's really neat though, right? Like this is a game that you should probably play when it comes out and buy this game because like support it. It's different and unique.
it'd be really fun to play with the group.
With your cosplay group.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually originally like earlier today kind of saying like I was a little worried about being kind of forced into a romantic like lesbian relationship as I'm very, very straight and don't identify in that in any way, shape, or form.
And you didn't want to do it injustice, right?
Yeah, and I was worried that it would feel really weird and awkward and uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
It's just winter.
it's actually just, it really works well with the system, honestly.
Now, Kith.
Love each other. Yeah, no, I can
Just
understand that. We were talking about that earlier too. Just like
Mhm.
what it really means, and it's
Mm-hmm.
it's
Well,
so
Especially going
different
for the
from
more
being
cutesy magical girl stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, because honestly, at the end of the day, when the entire world is in peril, having a cuddle buddy is probably the best thing in the world. Let's
Yeah.
be fair.
Hold me
I'm
while
my
you
own
die.
cuddle buddy.
Good. Make them all watch the channel. We will soon have more vampires. Anyway, back to the fun. You have described what you think is happening, and you have had we're going to cut in on your gasp that this has something to do with your mother. Ready? 3, 2, 1. All right, let's do that from the top one more. There we go. 3, 2, 1. There we go.
Oh, wow.
What?
That's
Yeah, apparently it was taken to Storoid Labs. Run by, I
Mary.
guess,
Did you know
your
this?
grandfather.
I had no idea.
Your grandfather, Patrick. Star.
Oh,
Oid.
no, this is Patrick. Sorry.
Is this the Dark Lord? No, this is Patrick. I do like playtests where we can act like children.
It's kind of fun. I mean, we're playing children, so that means we should act like children, right?
Mr. Star.
So she knew
Star with 2
about
R's.
this. Yeah, of course. But she never. Huh.
I wonder if it's there.
It
It
must
might
be.
be, yeah.
Have you ever been to the labs?
No, she never let me go.
Maybe this would be a good time to check in with your mother. You know she's working late tonight. She works late every night, it seems, these days. Trying to complete her father's mission.
When was the last time you spoke to your mother?
Oh, well, I mean, I still speak to her on occasion. Nothing really too serious, though. She's has been working late, and she's been telling me such. And
We're just going to kind of forget the fact that you said you live alone.
I know, when we text or something like that.
Okay. But she is in the country with you.
What?
She is in the country. Yeah, where she
Yeah.
is. Dang. I've had a long day and I'm a little bit sick, so let's just forget about that and continue.
Oh.
All right, so back on the mission.
So, do we need to reclaim that crown then?
Well, we need to beat them there. We can't let her get it. The whole world will fall to darkness.
So should we go investigate and try to cover as much space there as possible?
I mean, Mary could probably get us all in if she says she's visiting her mother and that we're school friends. If we all wear our uniform.
I can do my best.
Do you think she would?
I don't know if she'd just let us in, but it's probably worth a shot.
We could at least maybe get in the building.
She might let you in, and then you can let us in through the back door.
Mm.
Because I don't think Star would let outsiders in. Not with that kind of information. And all that,
I mean, she might not let us into those labs, but she might allow us in part of the building. We can try. We're just innocent high school students. We couldn't do anything.
needing information for a school topic.
Well, I am in astronomy, and I'd
yeah.
heard that this meteor strike had happened during the last time this comet had passed by, that our teacher was talking about today, and I looked it up, and that it had come to this lab, and Mary said this was where her mom worked, and that maybe I could talk to her.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so you head over there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I'd like you all to do, you're gonna have... Someone rubbing their feet against a cord.
Sorry, I pushed on the table slightly to sit upright.
Oh, okay. Because I can hear it.
Ah.
I can hear everything. Don't do that. This kind of hurts, and it probably hurts the audience.
Okay.
Oh.
Don't hurt us. Don't hurt me, bro.
Oh.
All right. So, as you go across the city, I think that we need to make a teamwork roll to sneak past the police and people who are watching the streets. So,
Okay.
So to do a teamwork roll.
What do we do?
I'm looking that up right now. Social links. Who is the most sneaky? So who has the best conceal?
Not me.
I have one.
Okay. Okay.
So you'd be leading a group action, I guess.
Yes. So the way this is going to work is group activities. Where are they? Harm, resisting consequences, losing opportunity, worst position. Consequences and harm, armor, death, clocks. Come on, I highlighted it and everything. Group actions. The protagonists may help each other. Describe how your character is assisting. Mark 1 stress on your character sheet and give the other player an additional die. You can perform actions with 2 or more characters. 1 character leads the action. All other participating also roll. For every member of the group action that fails, the leader takes 1 stress.
Bring on the stress.
Okay. So that means that you are going to roll. You're going to roll your full pool for that winter.
So how much is that?
That's going to be. You're going to roll your conceal, and anybody who wants to join in on this team effort needs to roll their conceal as well.
So is it conceal, or it looks like there's assist a teammate, set up a teammate, protect a teammate, or are those all for different situations?
That's for different situations.
Okay.
This is for you're doing a group conceal roll.
All right, should I risk it? I have no conceal.
I also have no conceal.
You should always risk everything.
All right.
Should we do it?
Okay.
Okay.
And now,
So like I have 1 dot through to conceal. Is that what I'm looking at?
yes, so you're going to roll 1 die. You can add another die for taking 2 points of stress.
Why
bonus.
not?
And then we potentially add successes to this.
Yes.
Okay.
And don't forget, I also can offer you a dark bargain.
That's true.
5.
Oh, nice.
Okay, that's good.
Sweet. Also 5. I rolled double 5s.
3.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
So that means Amiha. So Fawn, mark 1 stress.
So wait, what?
Mark 1 stress.
Oh, stress. Halfway there, guys.
So it's going to take you twice as long to get there. Because while you did succeed partially, as you're moving past one of the local arcades that has been completely shut down, just you could hear the pachinko machines going through their standard pre-programmed ding, 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 on the inside, and it covers up the sound of the approaching policeman who flashes a flashlight across your friend here. Raven almost gets caught in it before you two manage to grab her by both arms and pull her behind a vending machine with you. The policeman looks around for a moment, walks over to the vending machine, mutters to himself, these long hours are ridiculous. Stupid curfew. Feeds 300 yen into the machine and buys a can of hot corn chowder. and noisily slurps it down in front of the machine before depositing it in the recycling bin right next to your knees. He doesn't look at you as he does it, and after a full minute, walks away. That's what gave you that point of stress.
Corn chowder.
That is so gross.
It's actually not that bad.
I'm sorry.
All right, and with that, you are going to continue on. You're going to make your way to the creepy dark place. One sec.
Creepy dark
Put
places.
some creepy dark music on.
Ooh.
Okay. Ooh, Outpost Antarctica, 1982. Oh, this is the that one. We're not going to do that one. All right, so you're going to make your way. You make your way to Staroid Labs. As you do, you will all notice that there aren't very many employee cars in the lot. But there are more than the number of lights that you see on. In fact, it looks like, aside from a few beams of light shining out into the darkness from the center of the second floor, it's almost like a wave of brightness reaching out from that floor, like fingers of light from a central area. Something is causing an explosion of light, and as you approach, you will notice that there is a bicycle parked outside, a lone bicycle by the front door in one of the bicycle slots.
Somebody's here before us.
Yeah.
And dangling from the handlebars is the insignia on a keychain of your high school.
Uh-oh.
The front door has been smashed in.
They went in loud.
Do you run in?
No.
No, we sneak in.
Sneak in. Sneaky, sneaky.
How well do you know the premises?
I've been here a couple times.
But they might have changed things.
I mean, they might have. I wouldn't know where exactly it would be. Maybe.
What would be up on that floor?
That's the main lab that's the main containment lab for all of their metallurgical and radioactive isotopes research.
Mm.
It's a huge white containment room, basically, like a big one of those ones where the walls or the floor and ceiling are sparkling white and the walls are complete glass, right? And so everybody from the entire building can look in on it, basically, and it looks really cool and expensive.
But I mean, that might be the place where they would keep such a thing.
And what's the security like?
Are you near the front door right now?
We're getting near it, I think.
As you say that, what's the security like?
Bush.
You'll see the beam of a flashlight poke down from a stairwell on the right, not 20 feet inside the door. And the light progresses down the stairs and flashes around. And you'll hear, as the flashlight, this giant mag light tumbles to the main floor and rolls, shining a light back up the stairwell that it rolled down.
Kind of like trying to peek through the leaves a little bit.
You can see in the dimness, in the almost blackness of this room, the mag light is casting a reddish glow from the blood smeared across its lens.
Uh-oh.
We should.
Is there another way in? Or is that the only entrance you know?
It's the only entrance I know. It's the only one Mom ever took me through.
You know that you can get to the central area through this front door. It's front, up the stairs, and then through the keycard panel.
Right.
What do you do?
I'll slowly kind of like edge toward the door.
Sure. It's like I said, it's a glass door that's been shattered open from the outside. It's safety glass, so it looks like confetti of translucent glass on the floor. spread out in all sorts of directions.
And it's a big light.
It's like a mag light, like a big flashlight that you'd use for protection as well, like a security guard would have. Basically, a big metal flashlight.
And it's pointing up with the light.
It's pointing up the stairs.
Can I hear anything like footsteps or gasping or?
Not from down here. You can hear the hum, though, of whatever is happening on the second floor. You can feel that. You can feel it in the bones of your jaw.
I go for the flashlight and I turn it off.
Okay.
And pull it towards me, and then towards them, I
Got
tell
blood
them
all
like,
over it.
Okay, you shut the flashlight out. You now have a large flashlight.
and then
Alright.
I motion for you guys like,
I will come in.
Okay.
All right, you walk into the building. Stepping on the broken glass as you go. It's not quite that loud, but you get the idea. As you step across the broken glass, you almost skid a little bit. And as you're inside, you can see that all of the power has been cut. The security cameras no longer have the little red light that you always knew would indicate that they were on. And as you approach Fawn, there at the bottom of the stairs, do you look up the stairs?
Yes.
There is a security guard laying on the alcove, his hand stretched out toward you, his eyes sunken into his skull so deep that they are pits of blackness, staring at you in the darkness. His shirt is torn completely open at the chest, and you can see ribs sticking out through the white cotton shirt.
Since we've been magical girls, are we used to this kind of sight? Or are we going to have to do a roll of like some sort of composure?
I think this is still a big deal, but I don't think you need to make a roll. But you know, looking up at him, what you won't find in his chest. Hey, I'm not wearing the lavalier mic. I can hit my chest now. Wait. I should really reverse my screen if I realize I've been looking at you, but I've been looking like I've been looking at Caitlin when I do that.
Oh, true. Hi.
Hey, I'm facing them, so anyway. So you see that his bloodied corpse stares out at you. You have a brief flashback, Raven, of when you first came. And the candy that he kept in his pocket to give to visiting children who were there with their parents. It was rare, but it did happen. He was a nice man.
So kind.
Probably should have candy in his pocket if you want to loot him.
No, I don't. Thank you, Bill.
No, it's right. You never know when we're playing D&D.
That's true.
All right, what do you all do?
Say a silent little prayer.
Stairs? Or is it just like a flat?
So he's on the landing, so you'll have to climb up the stairs. So you can absolutely do that.
Yeah. So just like carefully get in through the broken glass door.
Sure. Oh, you've already done that.
Oh,
So
okay,
that was the front door of the building. So
Okay.
you've gone through the front door.
Yeah.
And there's like a central corridor with a reception area that's closed. And then a stairwell on the right that you walked over to grab the flashlight.
Is there a
Oh,
fire
okay.
extinguisher on the wall?
Yes, there is.
Can I take it?
Yes, you may.
Excellent. Is it one of like the powder ones?
Sure.
Okay.
No, it's one of the foam ones. They're more fun.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I accidentally... I'll tell you a story about an ex-girlfriend later.
Dork Tales After Dark.
We have that.
We did.
We did. Yeah. It has starts
After
with,
Dork.
After
After
Dork.
Dork.
Yeah, it starts with saxophone music. It's on the Starfinder. Anyway.
Oh wow, cool.
All right, so you have a fire extinguisher, a mag light, and
I do.
And Raven.
And me.
and my Raven.
Yes.
Do you go up the stairs?
Yes.
All right. As you go up the stairs, the darkness is cut away by a blinding ray of light that you could see from the outside of the building. On the main landing, you can see through the glass walls that lead into that central containment laboratory. And that's when you will see a woman unconscious on the ground. This is the first thing that you'll notice. She has long, curly blonde hair beginning to be streaked with white. And then you'll notice the plaid pants of your school uniform. Peeking out of roiling, ragged shadow as a tall, almost formless creature stands above her, holding a shining stone that, as you look at it, is in the shape of a crown. And as you look at this, you will see that this person is shaped almost, this creature, the shadow is ragged and shaped almost like a bird's head, like a crane of some kind, like it's osprey. He looms over your mother's body. She doesn't appear to be dead yet. What do you do?
I'm going to make it so I can use a fire extinguisher. And then, oi, pervert! As he turns, hit him in the face with the foam.
I thought they were behind glass.
They're behind glass.
Okay, well, burst in and do that.
Okay, so you're going to run up and okay, so the floor is, we'll say that it's dimly lit, or well, it's about as lit in here as it is in here. Do you think that it's good? Should you just be able to burst in, or should you have to magical girl transform to get in there? You know what? You can go ahead and burst in, and we'll play with the mechanics of the system, because that's going to be... so what you're going to do is you are going to push your way into the room, and there's no initiative in this as far as I can tell. It's just player-driven. You try to be fair with your actions and make sure that everybody gets a turn. So can I get Hawk to make me a...
Defy?
This is going to be a defy roll, and your position is desperate.
Okay.
Because he is obviously a supernatural creature, which means that you will take severe harm if you fail.
I'm gonna add a die.
Okay.
So each time you make a desperate roll, mark 1 XP in the actions attribute.
That sounds great. So what I would also like to ask is, anybody going to help her for a point of stress?
I have something kind of cool on mine saying working from the shadows. When you secretly set up another character's action, roll 1 die. If they succeed, mark experience.
Okay. So roll 1 die or add 1 die?
This is roll +1.
Yeah. And that's for a teamwork.
Oh,
So-
for a teamwork.
Yeah, set up a teammate.
Okay. So how does that work?
I don't know. I'm trying to piece all this together. So under the teamwork thing, there's a set up a teammate, protect, lead, or assist. And under my thing for fun, there's the circles, and this one's filled in, and it says working from the shadows.
Yeah, mine's former henchwoman, which
Okay, so...
doesn't seem very useful.
Well, it gives
Right
me a lot
now,
of
but-
plot details, right?
Yeah.
So what I will say is that it's going to give you...
An extra die?
Yeah, let me look at your sheet real quick. Hold on, I've got a copy of it over here. Hawk Fawn.
So it's in the area right under the name.
+1. That's weird, because I don't see a rule for... Oh, setup. It's right there. You can set up another character's action. Perform an action roll that makes sense to set up your friend's action. If you are successful, they get increased effect or better position. So I think what that would be is maybe you do a distraction.
Or you pop up and open the door or something.
Yeah, I see that you're going ahead, and I'm like, there's a door, so I'd be like...
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and give me the starter roll. So you are going to roll perform. So what action would that be? What do you think fits with that? Flow?
Flow.
Okay, so you're just faster than she is, and you can set that up. So roll flow +1. And you can take a point of, or 2 points of stress to add an additional dice if you'd like. Nah, save it. Okay, what do we got?
5 and 4.
Okay, so 5 and 4. That is going to be, it's going to be a partial success. Yeah. Where's
So
it?
there's a good point brought up in the chat. So that was locked with a keycard pass.
Oh.
See, I thought we were breaking through glass, but I think
Mhm.
that's that wouldn't be a thing, so it'd be too thick.
That is a
Now
point.
that
It
I
was
think
key
about
Well,
card
actually,
glass.
how did he get in there?
Yeah.
He was a high school student who's a being of darkness, apparently.
That's true.
Did he
Yeah.
just
We're
break
improving
through?
this on the fly, so
Yeah. So, like, did they already break through the glass?
Or did he steal the key card from the guard and that's it, just in the key card slot,
yes.
keeping the door open?
Yes, you know what? We're going to say that's what it is. And that it's on its own internal generator for the locks. But it doesn't have the emergency lighting on. Okay. Because
Cool.
all of the lights exploded when the power overloaded, but the key card reader stayed on. Thank you, General. All right, so you're going to go up and swipe the card that you have noticed on the laying on the floor. So you go run up, you swipe it, the door turns green, and you
And
pull
I'll
it open.
keep that key card. I'm gonna keep it on my person.
Okay, so the downside of this roll is.
It makes a sound, like a beep.
Let's see. So it's a clean success. Okay, so what that means is that Christine Hawk is going to get. Would you like to increase Hawk's success or give them a better position so that if they fail, it's not as bad?
So it would be an extra die for success or something to roll?
So what it would be, actually, effect is the other thing. So as there's positioning that's low, medium, high, right?
Mhm.
There's also effect, which is standard, limited, or great. So right now, you would be at standard. This would mean that the timing allowed you to land a great hit, which is you achieve more than you expected.
I would like that, honestly.
So is that what you'd like to give her? Okay, so go ahead and make this roll.
Okay. 5.
5.
And a 3.
Okay, so
So the 5 is the one that counts.
okay, so what I'm going to do is
Because you always take the highest.
You do always take the highest, yeah. So this is a desperate maneuver. And I just have to double check what. So action tries most of the game. Turns the dice pool, it does. And then checking for harm. Once again, sorry. I'm learning the system as we go. Harm. Where is the thing for harm? Okay, so I don't want to just do. Oh, here we go. This consequence means lasting injury. So if you got a partial success, I'll reduce that by. You got a partial success, which means that you are going to do this with great success. So you run into the room, go full open on this thing, and as you do, it is going to spray him directly in the face. He is going to lash out at you with his razor sharp claws made of pure shadow. And as he does, I'm going to say that is going to, it would be a severe, you would be impaled. But in this case, you are just going to be cut up.
Okay.
So you're going to get a large slash down your left arm.
Okay.
That's going to bleed. You're going to drop the fire extinguisher as a side effect, but it's empty, and he is going to. I'm going to give him the condition blinded from this, and he is going to roar, and you'll see the shadow around him begin to undulate and grow even more. And what do you do, Raven?
I want to run in there, and I want to transcend.
You want to transcend.
Transform magic.
Key card's my enemy. It's true. All right,
Running
so
their mom.
so to trans.
Mother.
Hey, I'm your kid. Transform. Hey, I'm not your.
Actually, maybe not.
I'm not your
I'm gonna
kid.
transform before going in there.
All right, so I think it's transformation time. So, what does your transformed form look like? Why do they call you Raven?
Maybe it looks like this dress, and it's just very dark. And
Do you
I
have
like-
Do you have a mask?
Yes.
And it's like a big feathery one?
Yes.
And does it have a beak? Do you look like a plague
yes.
doctor?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I actually have a picture of a cute plague doctor on my phone.
Oh.
Me too.
This is we were on Imgur at the same time, weren't we?
Probably.
Okay, so you will turn into Plague Doctor Moon.
Okay.
All right. Dun, dun, dun,
I'll probably
dun,
just
dun.
say mum under my breath. Yeah.
All right. And with that, then we're going to go to Fawn. So Fawn, how do you look? Is it like a fawn mask on top of this like flowing pink dress?
Yeah, it's very much like has the ears stuff. It comes down to about here. So
horns.
yeah, with the little horns. It's very like spring and floral.
Okay.
Very like.
And like the spring crown that you have there.
Yeah.
Nice.
I will also transcend after these two do it.
That sounds great.
You're like, that's a great idea.
And one thing that you need to remember, so when you're transcending now,
Mhm.
you now have the stats on the blue column.
Yeah.
So they will combine with the previous ones while you were transcended.
Which is just kind of funny because you have different stats and you're not good at stuff that you were good at as human.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, like for one, under Moon, I don't have anything for forgive.
But now you do.
But now I have
Yeah.
one whole forgiveness.
I've got 2 whole forgiveness.
Whereas
And-
now, for some reason, for the stern, direct, passionate one, I don't have any defy.
What I would like, well, you keep your original stats
Yeah.
too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you
So
add
they
them.
combine. So your transformed is the only way you get 3 in a stat ever,
Yeah.
or 4.
So
It's
like,
just funny that they didn't put them on ones that you already had. They put them on
Did they not?
completely separate. I have
Oh.
none that line up.
Really? Okay, because Fawn
Interesting.
gets a second point of flow,
yeah.
and
No, I get stuff like forgive, flow, and empathize. I'm like,
Oh
a
yeah,
lot
yours,
of good
yours
when I'm
don't
trying to
double up.
fight.
Yeah, I feel like they should have given you an extra point in Defy,
Yeah.
because Defiance is your entire thing.
Mhm.
Also, be sure to check down at your sheet. So each one of you has a transcendent ability. So
Yeah.
you have this one's mine, which is once you engage a foe, neither of you may back down until
You don't get
one.
any bonuses. All you get is no other foe will attack you while
Which is
you're
pretty
doing
great.
this.
like-
Fawn has watch this. When you push yourself, choose one of the following additional benefits: perform superhuman feats of athletics, or deliver a monologue without being interrupted. And then Caitlin, Raven has beacon once per transcendence. You may uplift your allies with a speech or a song. When you do, it counts as spending a link. Counts as if spending a link to each ally that can hear you. They choose which link effect to use, not you.
So under the transcendent abilities, like there's 3, and then there's one that's highlighted.
You get the highlighted one.
Later on, can you unlock the others?
Yep.
Ooh.
So
So
one of
that's
the
why you buy XP, I guess.
Yeah.
Ooh.
One of the things you would really love about Powered by the Apocalypse and Forged in the Dark is that this is called a playbook.
Mhm.
Okay. And as you develop the character, you fill in. So, for example, on Raven's, Raven has perfect pitch, where she's polyphonic and nearly beautiful. Later, she could also buy or could have started with any of the other things on her sheet instead.
Mhm.
And you start off and it's like, okay, you distribute these 3 dots. You distribute this. Pick one of these category. Pick one of these category, and that's your character.
Okay.
Mm.
So,
How long would it take to be able to like build up the character and spread it out over
when we
these?
were running Monster Hunter Academia for the channel, I think that people gained a new ability or power about once a session.
Okay.
Like you basically get to fill something out about every session or 2.
I mean, I think it depends on how you play, because it kind of tells you for each character, like, each of us might gain XP in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think each time you make a desperate roll, mark 1 XP in that action's attribute and stuff like that.
So in Empowered by the Apocalypse, it's usually every time you fail, you mark an experience. If you fail badly. So the more you fail, the better you get.
Okay.
But if
So
you
for,
succeed, you don't get anything except for the
Mine,
success.
You
wow.
addressed a challenge with individual action or aggression. You expressed your beliefs, drives, role, or background. You struggled with issues from your promises or obligation. You embodied your eclipse or displayed the contents of your heart.
All right. So what
Those
I'm
are all
going to
XP
say
gaming.
happens right here is that you burst in, you spray him with the fire extinguisher, blinding him for a minute, and as he stumbles back, he will shriek, "Who is this? Who are you?" And then as the mist clears, you'll have your transformation sequences. And it'll be the three of you. Your mother is unconscious on the ground, and he'll have he's still rubbing his eyes, trying to like just lash blindly out. Raven, you were the first one that transformed, so I'm gonna say, do you want to do something first?
I want to try to soothe his troubled heart.
Oh,
Okay. So what do you do for that?
Let me see. Sing
Right.
to. Probably sing. It says when you sing to inspire your allies or soothe the troubled hearts of foes. Can I only do that once? Oh well, whatever. Let's do it.
You can do that multiple times, but
Wow.
okay. So what this is going to be
Perfect
is
pitch.
this is going to be a forgive roll, and this is going to be at controlled difficult or controlled. I forgot the position, so
Okay.
that's medium, and yes, you may.
I don't think controlled is medium. I think that was risky.
Oh, you're right. It is risky.
Mm.
Controlled
But that's
just
okay.
it feels like medium, but
Yeah.
you're at medium, so
But you're in control of the situation, right? Then it's easier
You're-
for you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So this
yes.
this counts as risky because it's supernatural.
Okay.
So first of all, would you like to take stress to gain bonus dice? Does anybody want to do a teamwork help to give additional dice? It only costs you one stress. One of you can do it.
I am this close to Eclipse. I'm not quite ready yet.
Come on, you're the bad girl. Do 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 do. Copyright strike when we upload this to YouTube.
Sure, I'll take
Two stress. Okay. Anybody else gonna help out? Okay, so that means you're gonna get one dice.
Okay. And then do I get another one
For your ability. So you're gonna have
perfect
4 die for this. 4 dice. I messed up dice on singular, but then I got it on plural.
pitch? Okay.
All right, please do me the honors.
A 5.
You got a 5?
Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
nice.
All right. So you are. So you soothe the heart of the troubled foe. So this is going to be half and half. What I'm going to say is, So what can I do in these games when you don't quite make it, or when it's more complicated? Hold on one sec. So, oh, you know what I can do? I always forget that I can do this in these games. So, how do you do this? How do you sing a song to show that you care for someone despite mistakes they've made?
Probably singing a song about
And how would you express that? You don't have to sing if you don't want to.
magical microphone. Ah.
So,
well, her voice is polyphonic and eerily beautiful, so it probably just resonates.
so what's the message? You recognize that this is Osprey, Arashi Akira.
Yeah.
So what do you say to Arashi? Do you address him by name? Do you?
I'll probably just address him by Osprey.
Okay, that sounds good. So when you roll here, so you are going to get, you're going to get a good success. So this is going to be a standard success. You receive what you expect, which is going to be that you're going to definitely distract him and definitely start affecting him emotionally, and you're going to start opening the doors for him to be. Right?
Yeah.
You're basically stripping away his armor.
Yeah.
However, you do get a bad thing for this, and I'd like some options. What do you think is a good bad thing that could happen in this case? So you manage to succeed. You touch him, but maybe that causes him to roil back or to lash out.
Yeah.
As you're trying to get under his.
Like, yeah, there's like 2 of him fighting, and like his good side's just like, I'm trying. And
Okay,
the other
so
one's like, no.
So how could this negatively affect the situation?
You want to be
It
negative.
kind of ticks him off a little bit more.
Okay, so he goes a little more rage.
Yeah.
So as you start singing, he's going to grasp the side of his head and start screaming, no, people, they don't have hearts. They're just pathetic, hateful children, like my father.
Oh, dark.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll beat you. I'll beat you just like he. And you too. What would you like to do?
So
I want to try and call out to Fawn of, it's working. We have to help. We all have forgive. I think it's a transcendent ability.
Oh, of course you do, because that's what you guys have as your group bonus. Okay,
So-
this is.
So can I try doing the watch this?
Yes, you can do
So-
watch this.
Okay, so when you push yourself, choose one of the following additional benefits. Perform a superhuman feat of athletics. Deliver a monologue. Okay, so I want to do athletics because I was originally going to do PE earlier.
Okay, so what's your athletics?
It's going to be like almost like a pole vaulting jump over him to get towards her mother and kind of get her out of the way.
Okay, that's going to be good. So, what are you going to use for the pole vault?
Under stars flow.
So, what do you need? So, are you just going to high jump over him?
Yeah, basically. Just
I was just like, you don't have a
pretend.
pole, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Unless
I
there's a
know.
broom nearby.
I just couldn't think of high jump.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So, you can absolutely high jump over him. So, why don't you go ahead and make me a flow roll? And because you do a superhuman feat of athletics, basically what that means is you have the ability to attempt the superhuman feat, I believe. Or do you just do it?
I don't know.
Hold on, I'm just going to check your sheet real quick.
And to get a bonus die, I was going to try for accepting a dark bargain.
That's, I think that's only if you fail a roll. I can be like, well, maybe this happens instead.
Yeah, okay, then that will be on the table.
Okay.
I don't
so-
think I add anything else to it, but I'm like, if you push yourself, choose one of the following additional benefits. Because I don't want to talk, I just want to do.
Okay, I'll make you make the roll anyway. I'm not sure if you'd normally just be able to do it, but let's make the roll and see if
It
it's...
does say when you push yourself, though. Do you have to push yourself to do it?
I think so.
I think so you have to take the 2 stress.
Cool.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. So that's fair.
Yeah,
So you have
it's
to
an
take the 2
action,
stress.
Pushing
Okay.
yourself.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're getting additional... Oh, you'll gain plus 1 dice.
Yeah,
So you have another die.
yeah.
All right, give me a roll. Roll all ones.
Oh, God. No. Ooh, 6.
You got a 6?
I got a 6.
That is beautiful. I don't have to make a dark bargain with you. All
That
right.
would have been so cool.
So, as you hear Hawk call out, "It's working!" You take that as your opportunity to watch this, and run, and maybe jump and run along the glass wall a little bit to spring off, and you spring off. Firing over his head as he hears you go over him, and he lashes out and scrapes through the ceiling, ripping some of the piping overhead with his long, tendrilless arms, but you're already gone.
Okay.
You hit the ground as silent as a mouse, or as a fawn, sweeping up her mother in your arms and sliding from your momentum out of his reach as his paw, his black, inky paw comes down and explodes the ground where she was just a moment ago. You're just too quick. What about you, Hawk?
I'm going to also try the forgive action
Okay.
and call out to him of basically, what was his first name? Akira?
No,
Here's
it's
his last name.
Akira's his last name. It is Arashi.
Arashi. That not everybody is like that. There's beauty and elegance in the world too.
Oh.
You
Okay.
don't have to be like him.
Oh.
All right, that sounds
to
great.
try
So,
and be like, you don't want to be like him, so don't do this.
so what I'm gonna say is, you go ahead. This is
Mhm.
going to be risky. So the medium.
Okay. I'm going
and
to take the 2 stress to push myself and push myself this close to Eclipse.
I hope you fail because I have my dark bargain already prepared.
Well, it's
Oh,
push
what?
yourself or accept a dark bargain. It's not
Oh
both.
yeah, you
Yeah,
can only
yeah.
do one.
It's
Oh.
one or the other to get a bonus die. So that's why I was a little confused by
You're right.
dark
you're
bargain
right,
being
you're right,
later.
You're right.
You're supposed to do it to get a
You,
bonus die.
no, you're 100% right. That was me messing up the rules.
No worries.
Actually, there is a special bonus that I read in one of the forums that they've set up,
Mhm.
which is one of the directors who runs this says, whenever I mess up a rule, I give my players +1 die. So I just misquoted the rules. Would you like an additional die?
Yes, please.
And then for any other rolls, you will have an additional die.
Neat.
Actually, Winter, roll one more die.
Well, and does the fact that I'm a former henchwoman help this?
That's going to increase your effect.
Yeah, because I can interact with agents of darkness as if they were regular people.
Cool. Then what that's going to do is mean that you get a great success. Great success.
Great.
5.
5?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is going to be, and that's with all of your die?
Yeah.
Dice there? Okay. So that is going to be, did I give you +1 for Caitlin, or for, add +1 to make this a group effort? Actually, do you want to take 1 stress to give her a bonus from your action before?
Sure.
Okay, so roll another die.
If Caitlin accepts.
No stress. Yeah.
You're addicted to stress.
No.
Yeah, we are.
I figure we're almost done.
We're almost done.
No, it's all good.
No, 5 is all I got.
Okay, so you got 5. Okay, so I'm going to say this hits hard. And so you're going to say, like, no, you can change. We don't have to be like this.
More along the lines of, like, there's beauty and elegance and stuff in the world. Basically referencing Fawn. But saying also that, like, you don't have to be like him.
Wait, are you embracing... Okay, you know what?
What?
Roll 1 more dice. Because if you're specifically referencing Fawn, I'm going to give you this
Well, I
one.
mean, it's pretty clear. Like, I'm using her
I know,
tags.
but just picture this in your head, and
Yeah.
it's...
No.
Okay, well, I tried.
I
Alright.
mean, it probably, if I re-rolled everything all together, it would have a better chance, but...
Too bad. All right, so what that's going to do is he is going to grab the sides of his head and collapse to his knees, shrieking in rage. And do any of you have do we have magical girl attacks?
No.
Okay, so basically you just forgive someone really hard. I like that.
I am last to forgive.
I have no special, like, fighty abilities, so...
All right, and you know what I'm going to say for this, because this is a mid-boss. Why don't we cut over to Fawn? Would you like to try to forgive him as well? And we'll use the group hug tactic.
Yeah. Okay, so what I would be calling out to him, making sure that Mother Dearest is okay. She's probably, like, unconscious.
She's
still.
unconscious. She's breathing in your arms.
We will help you. You are not alone in this. Come. Be one with us.
Okay.
You are not
You
alone.
magical girl!
You're not alone. Okay, so go ahead and
You're not alone.
make me a forgive roll.
Okay.
And would you like to make a dark bargain?
Yeah.
All right. So the dark bargain. How many stress do you have before you eclipse? 2. I'm gonna give you actually. The dark bargain's supposed to be for only like +1, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. A bonus die.
I'm going to say that the dark bargain is going to be that you are going to suffer a wound from this, regardless, because you are going to have to get close enough to put your hands on him. Basically, you'll see he's grabbing at his head, he's tearing at his scalp,
Yeah,
and you're going to...
she'll go to like put her hands over
Sorry, the dog's freaking out at something.
over his.
He's just getting real excited about this.
He probably saw his reflection.
That's true. I can make the ice dance. Anyway.
Oh!
Oh, poor Charlie.
I bet he's seen his reflection in the window.
He's like, there's a dog there.
He's done that pretty frequently up here, too.
Oh,
In the sliding door.
Charlie. So yeah, she goes to like.
Okay,
Intermission?
one moment. Just give me 1 second to get rid of the dog.
Okay. Are your parents not here tonight?
No, I think they're here, but doesn't stop him from being a noisy booker.
No. I saw his reflection. I love watching animals with their mirror reflections and stuff.
Lay down.
Charlie.
Oh, thanks, dog. No. Charlie, come here.
Yes, it's fine.
Charlie. Hi, buddy.
Here's our tuxedo mask.
Yeah!
Hi, buddy.
Oh!
He just had a bath today, so he's very clean.
He's
Sorry, the dog just entered the room and has joined the table. In fact,
Dog has joined the
oh,
party.
you know what? I can just screen cap this. Boop. There we go.
Oh.
All right, and with that, you are going to approach. I'd like you to make me that roll. So that's going to be at 1, 2. What's your forgive at?
Two to forgive.
All right, so
Oh.
that's going to be 3 dice.
Sweet.
And you get 2 6s. What'd you get?
My highest was a 2.
Oh no. I was gonna say though, and maybe this
It was
one.
a 1, 1, 2.
I was gonna say because of what has been happening so far, I was gonna give you +1 for Caitlin and Christine's work. So, and because I messed up the
Oh.
rules.
Oh,
Wait.
I have a connection with Fawn.
What does that
Plus
do?
1.
Oh,
I'm gonna give you +1 die
so
to
roll,
your ally's
roll-
action.
Actually, roll 2 more because I messed up the rules.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh
6!
my God.
Nice!
Yeah!
All right.
It was a miracle of true love.
So what's going to happen is he's grabbing at his head, and you're going to come around and say, "You can be forgiven. You're not alone."
We will help you.
And as you do, he is going to scream and just kind of try to push you away. And as he does, he's going to put his fingers through your collarbone. Basically, you're going to be cut up pretty severely for 2 points of harm.
Fawn!
So how does
You
that
may
get
mark
done?
armor to not be hurt.
Sure.
Yes, actually, Christine
Armor.
could have done that before too. Actually,
Cool.
so that's something we forgot to do.
So I just mark that I've used armor.
So basically, like your magical girl armor explodes in shards of light or spring.
But
or
now
petals.
I'll be more susceptible to damage.
So he has his hands wrapped around your throat, and you'll see the darkness fade out of him, and there's nothing in front of you except for a crying high school boy reduced to a child as you see this dark heart in the center of his chest shatter and fade away to nothing.
Why is everyone so pretty in this universe?
As he, because it's magical girls, and he is going to collapse to his knees at the 3 of your feet and begin sobbing.
and I'll say, it's okay.
And that's when you turn around and notice the shining crown on the desk next to you.
Mary.
You did it. You've kept the crown out of Queen Tenson's hands. For now. All right, so why don't we call game there?
Okay.
Nice.
Whoa!
All right, because it's getting a little late.
We did it.
So, what do you guys think of Girl by Moonlight so far?
Girl by
I
Twilight.
like it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very different. Like, it's going to take a bit of getting used to for sure. And
Mhm.
obviously reading through and really knowing the rules.
I want to see what this looks like with like art and more examples and more suggestions.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and more detail on how to build. And I think if we also played the characters from the very beginning, like play through the whole discovering you're a magical girl arc,
Mhm.
then we would actually have legit connections.
Bethany's freaking out in the chat. She's saying she wants more.
What's happening?
Aw.
Bethany's just like, more.
We'd
But
have
yeah.
like legit connections. We'd have
Yeah.
much more understanding, and I think also partially maybe the full book will address it.
I
But
think
like
so.
having like, because magical girls generally have a signature attack and like a weapon and like something that does damage.
Or at least does something like you.
So I don't really feel like I have anything
Or at
that does
least
damage.
find
That makes you any different than you already are.
Yeah, so like my transcendent ability is like, until your foe is defeated, nobody else can engage with it. It won't engage with anybody else. No other foe will
Mhm.
engage you.
So it's fighting you, but
It's-
then what can you do?
it's calling for a one-on-one fight, but I'm like, I don't have any fight
Yeah.
ability, it seems like
Aside
here.
from that one dot of defy.
Which doesn't really say anything about actually harming, it seems like.
See, I like that we went the forgive route. I think that really worked with the theme of this game.
Mhm.
I agree that I think that being a little more clear would be good.
And it feels like kind of like you should have more of a magical girl ability, like an actual like
mhm.
star power sort of
Like
something.
to have something, just so then it's the difference between your regular life and your transcendence life is
Yeah.
there's very very thin difference.
Yeah,
Because
that's
most of
true.
them do include fighting of some kind,
Mhm.
especially because you generally end up with a lot of mooks that you fight.
and then maybe you do the more forgive motion or the confess or conceal or flow or whatever against the bigger bosses.
Yeah.
And that's how you defeat them a bit more cleverly with empathy and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but the little ones you
But
kick.
the little ones you just hit them with a sword for the most
So
part. It
one of
seems
the
like.
things
and they
that
just poof out of existence.
I agree. I feel that we should also have potentially animal companions in the lair. That would be really good.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Like-
at least the option of an animal companion that maybe adds something
Or,
based
like,
on.
there's someone that you can get more information from, and like that's kind of the directors
Mhm.
used to feed you. Okay, this is what's been happening in this city. I've been tracking all this, and
So
meow.
you
Right,
can
Charlie?
have your Luna or Wit
Charlie.
or
Or be like, oh, you
Whatever.
leveled up. Now you get your new compact or something like that. You know what I mean?
A magic item would be kind of cool.
because that's totally how you do like getting guys into it. Also, as characters at least, is like, well, obviously it's like a Deanne Angel sort of thing.
Yeah, or you could go Magical Girl Raising Project route where everyone's just a magical girl when
Mhm.
they are transcendent.
So, oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Now, one of the things I did want to address about this game is one of the things that I saw, because I know some of the developers and the marketing team is going to be watching this video. I did notice something, and we've talked about it really briefly. When I was looking through these rules, this is a game that embraces like the queer lens, right? Because the whole thing is that like you're coming out as yourself, and you're throwing off of the binary structure that reality and society has placed on you, and being queer, being different. I feel that there's an odd metaphor in this game, and I'd like to address the transcendence. So transcendence is basically you living your best life, being yourself. You see how there's those 3 spots there? Every time you take an action in transcendence, you fill in one of those spots.
Oh, so like out of those, we would have been like, duh, we did a thing.
So whenever you make a roll, do an action. When you run out of spaces, you transform back to normal.
So like technically out of that, we did 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
But you can only transform once per game.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's slightly mixing the metaphor, where it's a game about like embracing your true self, but it's because the game seems to be trying to limit the amount of power that your character has, so that you don't feel like all powerful, right? Because you don't want that in a role playing game. It's saying that you should be your true self, but in like small doses. The metaphor feels a little mixed to me. Maybe I'm missing something, and I understand that there's a good chance I could be, but what do you?
I mean, that aside, even my thought is that, well, almost all magical girl animes, there's generally a trigger, and then a trigger that knocks you out of it. But they're not really that limited until like they're exhausted. Which I get that that's probably what they're trying to say, but it feels too limited.
Yeah, 3 is really quick.
Because it feels like you can't actually do anything or have a protracted fight, which can occur, and you see it in a lot of like shows.
it could be
It feels like
cool.
maybe they should have it be a longer track.
Or if it's more of a like, you can still stay transcended, but it's like a death saving throw in D&D where like you get a certain
You check every round.
Yeah. And there's a chance that like one of your friends could help you and you can feel sort of stronger, and that's kind of like a unity thing.
And maybe they should introduce like a retreat mechanic.
Yeah, or instead of like just 3 and that's it, you could do like a stamina thing, and this takes this much stamina, this takes this much stamina.
Or if you do hit the end, then you do a final roll. And if that's a fail, then you do.
Or you take an additional stress every round after that.
Yeah.
Or every action after that, you take an additional stress, and that could cause you to eclipse because you're just doing...
Too much.
I was also thinking that on what Christine was going off of about how it's a game where it's based off the magical girl genre, and like, for example, Card Captor Sakura spent a lot of time in her card captor form. And at the beginning of the game, they talk a lot about the queer identity and a lot about how this game does have issues of antagonism, and like it does kind of broach these rough topics because partially it seems like a processing tool, which is, I love role-playing games as tools for therapy and processing. I don't know if it'd be too much, but if you could spend an entire phase in your form, like in your transcendent form, but maybe because it gives you a bonus with supernatural creatures, maybe it reverses that you're
On the mundane
with
side.
mundane, right? Because you're seeing someone run around in a magical girl outfit. Basically, it's like you're going, and this is the metaphor, right? Becomes a little iffy. You're going to have people who are staring at you when you're out in public dressed like that. You're going to have, et cetera, right? Which is very iffy and potentially very, very heartbreaking and dangerous. But that's kind of what the game is going for.
Yeah, because
That's what it
there
seems
was
like,
an
yeah.
opposite end where if you transcend and you're not able to turn back to normal.
Yeah, because then you're stuck as who you really are, and maybe the world doesn't accept that.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if people want to roleplay that because that is very personal.
Exactly. So
But
it's like
I think
it opens up a lot of discussion for sure.
I think this is a brave game. And
But I think to be kind of empowering also, it might be even that to give more time in the transcended form, because that is empowering, right? You're superpowered, you're fantastic, you're
feel
embodying your true self, you're doing this really cool thing. And I mean, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have very negative emotions and even like heartbreak and all that sort of stuff going on, because that happens in the animes. In the magical girl form, they see one of their friends fall.
I mean, Madoka.
Exactly. That's really what I'm thinking about. That's the most recent one I've seen.
Everybody loves Madoka for that.
Yeah.
And that's not reliant on how long you spend in magical girl form, really. I mean, it's increasing it because they've taken this bargain. They've done this dark bargain.
Would you like to make it? I should get all of my Q-based stuff before next game. And you know what's going to be really weird is...
Yeah.
It's so good. So we're going to be playing this game again next Monday, and we're doing the Sea of Stars, which is the space opera one. It seems like it's a lot more inspired by Voltron. I've only looked at it very briefly, but I'm really curious how
I think they also said Escaflowne.
Yeah, Escaflowne was on. But I'm like, how the hell is this Escaflowne? I'm very curious to see how the rules fit.
I think it's the whole, like, the
mecha.
The mecha that you're powering by the driver sort of thing.
So, and like you're the girl that's in a different realm, so you're obviously like the weird one out in the whole world.
Yeah, some of this stuff was like you could be the pilot who was the only one to survive and you got demoted. Like, it kind of seems like your crew is essentially the rejects. The ones who are
like,
not wanted anymore, but you're still fighting to protect the world
Firefly
you've
and
known.
mecha suits.
And like Eureka 7 kind of deal too.
Oh yeah.
I love Eureka 7.
So you're the one who lost your entire command and you got demoted because of it. You're the crack pilot who's a mechanic, or you were born to be a crack pilot, but they decided that you weren't good enough, and so you've been a mechanic your whole life, and you take one of the mecha suits out in defiance to help. That's all those sort of things, right?
Screw you guys. I'm going to help you whether you like it or not. I'm going to use my mech suit to do it.
You're all the ones on the fringe. You're not the ones who are celebrated. You're not the ones who are, like, considered to be the best of the best. Everybody looks down on you. That kind of seems to be a lot of the...
Very fitting with a lot of the political messaging inside of this game, right? That we're going to help even if you don't want us to help because we are doing it with our hearts.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. So overall, would you play this game again?
I would for sure,
So.
Yeah. Cool.
Like,
And I mean, this also seems like a game that you could house rules fairly easy too, to kind of fit more what your style that you guys feel, to fit what you want out of it.
Well, I think that this was a pretty fun session. Thank you, Andrew Gillis, and everybody at Evil Hat for letting us do this. We hope that the playtest was informative for you. We stumbled a bit through this one. It'll be a little more smooth next Monday. So that's not tomorrow, that's in a week and a day. But thank you so much for tuning in, and that includes everybody in the chat. We love you. And we'd love to see you. Thank you for getting so hyped, Bethany and General Sellers.
Come back next time.
Come back next time. It's going to be on Monday, the
We'll be in Mecca.
27th.
On the 27th. And we are trading Winter out for my buddy Mike, who has the most fabulous magical girl nails ever.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I love them.
Oh, and do we potentially have Amy for that one as well?
If Amy's not sick, yeah, they should be here.
Sweet.
So thank you
We'll watch after.
Thank you very much, Andrew, and everybody at Evil Hat. We will see you all next time, and I hope this was good for you. Bye.
Bye.